What's happening, y'all? It's a lot going on in here tonight. A lot of truths, a lot of lies, but it's all good. Welcome to another week. We're here. It's going to be another one of them ones, those classes that I think we need to continue to drill in, rewind, play again. The abstract thinking part is fire and it's deep, so don't be afraid to listen to it again. And all the things that we had talked about last week, we're going to drill into a little bit more and really fine tune the psychology of entrepreneurship and where we're going. So let's get cracking. Let's get it started. First slide. Rules, laws, culture, and perspective theory, part 3. So we're going to drill into this a little deeper with examples, ideas, thoughts, so we really get this. Conceptually, like macro-wise, we talked about rules, laws, and culture, which means those three are the three that are in play in our world at all times. We are governed by these three at all times in every situation, in all scenarios, that we're being mixed into one of these three. So as an entrepreneur, how we move, we have to be cognizant of how these three interact, how they weave in, have the strength to pull out of a culture or a rule, to be able to maneuver and have the freedom to be successful. Let's think about this. Laws. Is there any time to break a law? If you lived in the 1900s, 1905, or you lived in the 1880s or the 1860s, and you look like what you look now, the laws were that I could buy you. I can buy you. I could breed you. I could do whatever I want with you. So are there ever a good time to break a law? Mm-hmm. The idea is yes. Concept is yes. It depends on what your beliefs, with your personal integrity, your purpose. All these are in play. Another question for you to think about. Does your religion, your spiritual beliefs, supersede laws?
In some cases.
Deep, huh? In some cases, yeah. Because if your religion tells you not to abort a baby, but your culture and your laws say that it's okay, you probably should, what do you go with? I come from a religion, my mother was a Jehovah's Witness. So it was people that will get hurt. Doctors like, hey, we got to give them a blood transfusion. It's legal. If we want to live, we got to give them a blood transfusion. But their religious laws said no. So guess what? If he got to go, he got to go. Because the religious laws say, don't do it. Don't take blood. Very deep, very interesting. So I really want you guys to get the magnitude. So when you go off into the world, I want you to be asking yourself these questions. Is this a rule? Is this law? Is this culture? What culture am I following? Or is this a law? This is a rule that I'm following. Like, get really clear. Because the rules up to be broken. The culture definitely up to be broken. Where it gets very sensitive and you got to be very careful is the laws. You don't want to be fucking with the laws. But there are some times when what you believe in spiritually and even purpose-wise, if you're fighting for what's right, that's what happens sometimes when people revolt or they do things. The people who stormed the Capitol, they believed in their mind that my love for the country and my belief in what's right supersedes the law at this moment. So entrepreneurially, we're about to apply this to entrepreneurship. It's very, very important. It's one of the most critical elements to being an entrepreneur. Let's go to the next slide.
Opportunity equals social friction. If people are laughing, doubting, or saying, that's not how we do things, that's usually where the biggest breakthrough lies.
Okay, so again, how this applies to us as entrepreneurs, this is where the money is. This is where the money is. Do you want money?
Yeah.
This is where it is. It's not in the ran through systems that's already super popular. Everybody's diving into. They've already been doing this lots of renditions of the same thing. The money is in the place where everybody's zombied into and mentally programmed into this culture to where they move without laws. They're programmed so well that you don't need to implement laws because they're programmed already. So then if you come in and say, why don't you do a purple one? Purple, get this dude out of here. He's stupid. Now realizing that there's a subculture of purple happening. And studies show that people like purple now. Like where you're laughed at, where you're doubted, when people are saying that's crazy, that's where your opportunities are. As an entrepreneur, period. When you say we don't do it like this, you want to peer as an entrepreneur who isn't bound by rules and who isn't bound by culture. You might want to peek into that. We're not bound by rules and culture, period. Remember that. We choose to be bound by laws. We're not really bound by any of it. We choose to be bound by laws. But we're not bound by rules and culture. Fuck that shit. Rules and culture. Please. Care about your... If I'm following your culture, it's because I choose to. But I'm not a blind robot citizen into your culture. I can hop out and hop in at any moment. And the minute it conflicts with my culture, I'm out. See, like when Tennille was smoking weed yesterday, I was trying to warn her that's not the culture. I don't want to come for you. I'm just messing with you. I heard your wrath and your retributions. I'm not messing with you, Tennille. She wasn't smoking weed, y'all. She wasn't smoking weed. Put that out there. She's a very spiritual Christian that would never. Was that good enough? All right, okay. Let's see. So next slide.
You want blue ocean strategy. Have the courage to be different.
So Blue Ocean Strategy that book basically is built on the premise of rules, laws, culture. We're looking for blue ocean strategies. Don't make it so hard for yourself to win. Don't make it so difficult to win. Find the opportunities. But you have to understand rules. If you understand the game of rules, laws, culture, then now you have a superpower because you can see in ways in which other people can't see because they're bound by particular rule. Think about this. Like, why is the carpool lane, even after those hours, still the emptiest lane on the freeway? Why? It's because people are so programmed to not go in that lane that even when they're allowed to, they're so bound by that law that they won't even try. That's the world. That's our world we live in. We just do it. Why? Because it's just how we do it. That's how it's always been done. Why? Will you just shut up? Because we don't like why. We like conformity, and we like to conform. We like to be accepted naturally. It is a muscle you got to build that is super comfortable with however people feel about you. Remember, marketing. Now I said it last week. Marketing is people like us do things like this, right? That's what it is. People like us do things like this. That's marketing. But you sell that. You don't smoke it. You don't smoke it. You sell it. You don't smoke it.
You don't get high on your own supply.
You don't get high off that. You selling that. People like us do things like this. You're selling culture. And within culture, you create the rules of the culture. I need y'all to really get this. Lock this in, because this could take you places in business and in marketing and in branding that a lot of people can't see. When you go to say you're traveling as an entrepreneur, you're traveling, even just visiting, vacation, the first thing you're looking at is these three things. Okay, this new place that I'm at, rules, laws, culture. What are the laws? What are the rules? What's culture here? So let's say you go to Mexico and you decide you want to drive. Speed limit is whatever, 60 miles an hour or whatever. You're going 60 miles an hour, but then you get pulled over by Mexican police. You pull over. What? I was going the speed limit. Hold on. Yeah, well, it's going to cost you $100. That's not right. That's not fair. You extorting me. Is that rules, laws, or culture?
Proper answer is, can I pay that fine here?
He must have been there before. You got to know, you better shut the fuck up in that moment. Most people don't. They want to fight for what the law is and not the culture and the rules are. Got to be smart. Got to know the lay of the land. You got to read the room. You got to read the city. You got to read the market. And when you're reading, that's what it means when you say read the room. It means, what are the laws? What are the rules? And what's the culture? That's the breakdown of what reading the room is. Because if not, then you'll overstep your bounds and do some dumb shit, and now you're kicked out of the culture. Opportunity gone. Or you might end up under the jail, some shit. Because you weren't looking, you weren't thinking. When you walk into a new environment, read the room. Rules, laws, culture. And if you don't have that, don't move. Keep watching. If you don't have that yet, don't move. Keep observing. If you don't have that yet, ask questions. Ask people. Ask the person to the right, to the left.
So the blue ocean, I heard it being compared to like the red ocean. So the blue ocean and the red ocean being like what the societal norms are, and then the blue ocean being different. This is the same thing. Okay.
Yep. It brings all those home in terms of exactly what it is. Why is the blue ocean blue and why is the red red? Because the red have walls around the culture, the rules, and the laws. Blue doesn't. It's off to the left. And our goal is that's where the gold is. That's where the money is. That's where the opportunities are. For like in marketing, there's a concept called first to market, second to market, third to market, and on down, right? Have you ever heard of that? So first to market is Gillette razor, first of its kind. You don't have to go to the barbershop anymore to shave. What? I don't know how to. Yeah, it's disposable. What? It's disposable? Yeah, you just when you're done, throw it away. First to market. That's first of its kind. I don't got no competitors. Nobody around to try to fight over. You just entered into a blue ocean right there. Everybody, the rules of the culture is if you want to shave, you got to go to the shop. Right? That was the culture back then. If you want to shave, and the culture around it is on Saturdays, I see my homies. We talk about the games, we talk about fights, we talk about our women, our wives, all this shit that creates a culture around it. So you got to go to the shop now. If I don't see you at the shop, I'm going to ask you, where was you? Which those are rules and like culture rules. And where was you at? We missed you. So now you feel pressured and obligated to go. So now the culture starts getting strong. And you're like, I wonder if there's people who just don't fucking want to go to the shop. I need a quick shave and to go. Gillette. That's first to market. So then when a competitor came, they said, we can't say we can't open up with disposable razor. That's already done. We have to take the second to market position. So we say better disposable market or cheaper disposable market or longer lasting disposable razor. We have to come up with something that one-ups first to market person. And we sit back and wait to see what all the complaints are for first to market, and then we capitalize that when we enter the market. Hey, it was a little bit too sharp. We got a lot of razor cuts. Okay, we solved that problem. We have a guarded edge on our razor so you don't get razor cuts. Oh, well then the market moves over here. That's second to market. And then there's third to market strategies that are different than the first two, fourth to market, and you can keep going on down. That's written marketing strategy 101. But each one of those is a blue ocean. Because what haven't they thought about that we think the market wants? Does that make sense? Next slide. You got to have courage, though. You can't be no punk about this shit. Because you're going to get ridiculed. You're going to get talked shit about. People going to say that's crazy. Because a brain can't comprehend you going over here. It just can't.
Can I add? I mentioned, I think last week in class that I don't know if I mentioned that African Americans may not know when freedom arrives because every time we feel friction, it triggers our trauma. So even if you're free, when you experience trauma, your brain will say, oh, that must be oppression, when it might just be the friction of the industry. So a lot of times for black people, and people come from families who've been going through struggles, friction triggers trauma. So also when you feel friction, you brings up something in you, right? And so one of the reasons that I think we try to keep this class intense, right? We could make this class soft if we wanted to, but we make it intense. Because we're trying to prime you for the friction of these things like this. Because when you come up against this stuff, I think what's really purified is your presentation. Because it's just you can't display the friction they're gonna experience. But when people weaponize their words to create this resistance, and systems fire you or cancel you or judge you or reject you or take extra steps to undermine you, if friction instantly triggers you, you'll find that that's your limitation in itself in life, period. So your only ability to like override that, that's why we have to do our trauma work on our own, because I'm not doing no more trauma classes. But in order for us to get to a point that we can move past these certain friction points, we're gonna have to turn that sensitivity level way the fuck down. Like, I feel like social justice turned that sensitivity level so high to a point that you want everybody to acknowledge you, see you, value you, think great of you. You don't want nobody to tell you trash. And realistically, when you get in this game, it ain't even personal like that. People are not even talking to you personally. It's just everybody's fighting for the same destination, and cats are running each other over. They bumping people out the way. They're knocking people down. The game is about merit. And the only way you're going to get to a point where I deserve this is you're going to have to go through a lot of hits, a lot of blows. Like it's almost like you got to be, what they do in the fraternities? Haze you. Yeah, they almost like entrepreneurism is a hazing process. And no, it's a hazing process. And if we don't have the ability to the courage and the ability to manage friction, everything you just said is not going to happen.
Yeah. Courage. You got to have the courage. Like, I respect people who have polarizing opinions and are willing to stand on business and talk about it, regardless if I agree or not. I respect it.
And you're not going to shoot him.
Of course not.
You know, relevance, the guy got shot because somebody. Just saying.
Yeah, wow. But real talk, like, I respect somebody who has the courage to disagree.
Yeah.
I respect people who have the courage to get out of the norm and think differently. Well, what about that? I don't know if I agree with that. Because the natural current is to agree and be approved, and I want people to like me. I want people to say, no, like, having courage allows you to really, it gives you the lens to be able to see opportunity, period. If there's anybody who has trouble seeing good ideas, business opportunities, money opportunities, any opportunities, more than likely it comes from a place of lack of courage, fear. Once you have the courage to be like, I know the crowd loves this, but I'm going to check over here. I'm going to look into that. A lot of times it's there. Next slide.
Examples.
So here's some examples I want to discuss. So go deeper. Some examples of rules, laws, and culture that can help us drill it in a little bit harder. Go ahead.
Streetwear and dress codes. Law. No law against wearing hoodies.
Okay, there's no law against wearing hoodies, right? Hoodies you sell them at the store. They're a commodity that's sold everywhere, right? It's free. It's not against the law. But what's the rule?
Many schools, workplaces, or clubs banned hoodies.
So if I walk into any club in Las Vegas, are they going to let me in? It's not against the law, though. Because because there's a rule that's been created that in some people's mind, only a certain group of type of people walk around with hoodies. Feel some type of way when you wear. I feel like you're a threat when you wear a hoodie. It's a rule. So when you walk in and you see no hats, no hoodies, the fuck did that come from? It's cotton fleece. It's a crew neck with a hood on top of it. But why? Because society, culture has created that rule. So now there's places you can't get in. What's the culture?
Hoodies equals rebellion, identity, and authenticity.
So the hoodies mean rebellion, identity, and authenticity to a lot of people. So which it can hurt your interest into things. And you have to be comfortable with people judging you based on you wearing that hoodie, walking around. Why do people still wear them?
They're comfortable.
Why do people still wear them?
I think for a few reasons. There's comfort in them, but I think also too, just like how Apple carved out a market, it is a part of their identity. Like, it's almost like, how you gonna tell me what to wear? Like, this is how I choose to represent myself. So I think there's a comfort aspect, but I think there is that subtle rebellion of like, this is how I choose I want to show up in the world.
Okay, so let's read what the friction points are.
Systems saw hoodies as unprofessional. Youth saw them as self-expression.
It was an opportunity for the youth culture to go to the left. Separate themselves from what people consider professional. And a whole market. More hoodies are sold than t-shirts.
I believe it.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
We used to turn down selling hoodies in the summer because we like it's hot. No,
Kids don't care about that
they don't care about how hot it is.
That's true.
at all.
It just keeps going.
Be 120 degrees.
Yeah. That's so true. It's weird.
So what's the opportunity?
Brands leverage that tension, taking something disallowed in formal spaces and making it global badge of belonging.
So if you're a marketer and you want to market to youths, is it a good idea to have a few kids wearing hoodies in that marketing ad?
Oh yeah.
Think about it. But that's one example of how rules, laws, and cultures intersect with just something as simple as a hoodie. Next slide. Another example.
Ride sharing, Uber.
Go ahead.
Law. Taxi licenses were required for public transport.
So for 100 years almost, 80 years, I don't know how long, 60, 70 years, taxi cabs had culture, rules, and laws around taxis. If you wanted, there's a term for it that you can pass down to your children. It's like $100,000. You can buy a taxi badge or whatever that's called, and that you can take that with you in that particular city, and it was worth real estate money.
Yeah.
To give you permission. You were the only ones that had permission to drive other people around.
Crazy, right? It's crazy.
People would damn near sacrifice their firstborn to get that thing. And there was no breaking that, because not only was it rules and culture around it, but it was laws around it. Keep going. The
Rule. Only registered taxis could pick up passengers.
Okay. Culture.
People frustrated with high fares and poor service.
So then there became a culture started forming of people who getting gouged with prices, and they cornered that market. So there were it was a frustrated culture brewing And if you were within that culture, then you had the freedom, the psychology, the mentality to all you could do was complain. Couldn't do nothing else but complain. But guess what? Opportunity. What does that say?
Uber built tech to connect riders and drivers, bending rules before the laws caught up. The friction created a $1 billion category.
So Uber didn't even wait for the laws to change. They just started doing it. And they built it. And they built it big. And they took the money from the initial just doing it to fight the laws. They built the system and started doing it. Got the investment money and the revenue from doing it to start fighting the laws that start coming after them, because the taxi industry came for them. But they had already proven the model of how monumental this could be. So they raised enough capital to fight the taxi industry and won. Blue Ocean. See what I'm saying? Blue Ocean. Next one.
Hip hop and sampling. Law. Copyright laws protect original music. Rule. Record labels enforce no sampling without clearance. Culture. DJs and producers saw sampling as creativity and homage.
Okay. Think about that. We grew up in hip hop. James Brown was the most sampled in history. Thousands and thousands of rappers and thousands of songs. You know they didn't get that cleared. But the culture overpowered the law to where the law bent and ended up being an advantage for those older musicians. Because now, if the song hit, they're going to get paid. So it gives them the ability to get paid well after that song they made had its hype cycle. Now they get another hype cycle. So it ended up being a win-win for artists, old and new. But they had to break the laws and the rules and the culture in order for us to do that. That's Blue Ocean again. See how that work? It's powerful shit, man. So, what's the opportunity? Oh no, what's the friction?
Legal systems said don't. Culture said do.
And what was the opportunity?
Artists and lawyers who learned how to legally clear samples built new publishing systems, new revenue streams, and new sound economies.
See the game? So what does that tell you so far? That even laws are bendable. When the culture decides to shift, laws can even change.
Crazy.
Next slide.
Every circumstance helps you uncover something new about your beliefs, behaviors, desires. Everything is for you, and the experience of growth pressure plays a critical role.
I'm not sure how that slide got there. Is that yours, Nana? No? Maybe I put that there accidentally. Let's go next slide.
Yeah, so I don't know how they got there.
Maybe I copied and pasted
Is this
the
good?
wrong stuff. Next slide. Okay.
Okay.
So I want us to get really, really, really clear on rules, laws, culture, and I want you to see the world now from that particular lens. Rules, laws, culture. You want to quickly acclimate into a new environment? Rules, laws, and culture. Learn it fast. Memorize it and operate in it. And once you know all the rules and laws and culture, then now you can figure out ways to maneuver the rules. Break the rules. Where are the blue oceans at in this culture? Where are the opportunities? What are people stuck on? There's a restaurant in Las Vegas called Courts. I don't know if you ever been.
Of course you been.
it's funny, like friends, that's the place that they take me because they're like, it's Courts. So I'm like, all right, that's what's up. It's a breakfast spot, right? And it's chicken and waffles and soul food, black folk stuff. But they've broken so many rules in a way that makes them a novelty. So they have peach cobbler waffles.
Oh wow.
How can you say no to that? Cheesecake waffles. How can you say no to that? They have chicken, lobster, and waffles. Think about those that attracts.
Big back, big back.
The word lobster?
Yeah.
So brilliant marketing in terms of knowing exactly the demographic who will come into that place with a menu like that. Cheesecake butter that you put on top of the waffles. Every single thing is built on what popular black desserts were out there, and how can we incorporate that in either the sauce, the syrup, or the fruit on the waffle.
That's crazy.
So imagine when you walk in there, what is packed with?
Black people.
Us. So think about it. All the black folks that go to Vegas, instead of saying I want to go to this buffet at some hotel, every time I go there, they say, sorry dog, it's an hour and a half wait, 2 hour wait. One time, 3 hour wait.
Jesus Christ.
How many times you been, Court?
A few.
You got a membership card?
VIP.
He did say peach cobbler, you know.
A few. 3 hour wait?
Did you wait?
No. So think about that. Like, that's blue ocean. You don't gotta. It doesn't have to be this crazy billion-dollar. You can find little niche pockets in the market to find your blue ocean. But you have to see with a different lens. You got to see with a different lens. And this is the lens you look through. Those are the three questions you have. So remember, when someone says, read the room, what does that mean?
Laws, rule, culture. Laws, rules, culture.
What are the laws? What are the rules? What are the culture? That's what read the room means. Mm-hmm. So if you fuck up and somebody tells you, man, you didn't read the room, that means you didn't understand, in this moment, you didn't understand what the laws were, what the rules were, or what the culture is.
Let me show you how. So this is going to trigger everybody that knows anything about this. Buying new real estate. If you don't know the laws and rules and culture around that, it's called due diligence in real estate, right? Do your due diligence. A lot of times you're talking to people in real estate and they're like, I flipped this house, flipped that house, and I bought this building. But they didn't. They first of all, may not knew all the laws surrounding that real estate. That's why when you buy real estate outside your state or outside your city, and you don't know those laws and rules, that can cripple you alone. Then the rules, which is like, for example, let's say you're working with the city. What is it working with the different inspectors? And what is it like working with the different contractors? Those are all the rules that surround building this real estate, right? And then culture. Let's say you sat in front of that house for a week and you was like, oh shit, I can't handle this, right? Because there's a culture that's attacking your real estate. Rules, laws, and culture, it's one of the number one reasons people fail in real estate, because they don't learn the rules, laws, and culture of real estate. They may learn the laws, they may learn the rules, they may learn the culture. They don't realize how all three are integrated.
Ooh. I bought a triplex in 2005 in Stockton. So there's a lot of arrogance in Oakland cats, just so you know. We think that Oakland is better and harder than any city out there.
Sure do.
So that gave me the arrogance that I don't care where it's at. It ain't Oakland, so Stockton, that's some square shit. So I didn't even think about rules, laws, and culture. I just saw a triplex for a cheap price. Bought it. Boom. Pull up. And I'm like, it's Stockton. It's like Fairfield. Like, it's probably some square shit. So I pull up and I start knocking on the door. No one opens the door. Nobody. So I go back and sit in the car. And I'm just watching. And I see this dope fiend walk up and tap on the window twice. And the door cracks open. And somebody hands him something. I'm like, no.
You bought a crack house.
Few minutes later, 2 taps on the window, door cracks open. Oh, I bought a crack house.
Nailed it.
So,
That's a good one.
in my anger, in my stupidity, in my arrogance,
You ran up on that house?
I tapped on the window twice. Toot toot. Door cracks open. I push it open.
Oh boy.
This fuck y'all doing, this my shit. You can't be selling drugs in my shit. So I don't know. I just think it's like a New York mentality. How New Yorkers think they the hardest motherfuckers in the world, and every other city's kind of weak. So so
Yeah.
I know.
Hey, you so
Now, hey, what I know now about Stockton, that's the dumbest thing I could have ever did. Cause Stockton, they with the shit, right?
Yeah.
So, dude comes out, whole face is tattooed, like all kind of tears.
You about to go.
So it's too late. I gotta stay in character. I can't. It's too late. So
Down in the cement.
So he said, like, are you stupid or are you crazy? I said, hey, man, like, this is what I said. I said, look, I'm from Oakland. I know what you're doing. I don't care what you're doing. I'm not going to call the police on you for what you're doing, but you can't do it here. So I give you till tomorrow to get up out of here, and I'm not going to call the police on you. I don't give a shit what you do, but you can't do it here. And he's like, I'll run this block. Like, he gave me some I'll run these streets speech. I said, you could do that, and that's all good, but you can't do it here. So I did it. I said it in a way that was convincing enough, and he got up out of there. He packed his shit up and left. And I slept. I stayed in my car and slept in front of the house with my gun on my thing.
I know you showing up there.
And when I woke up, he had got out of there, but over time I realized that house it was a triplex. The front wasn't the only problem. That whole thing was toxic, and that whole street was toxic to the point to where I got up out of that whole situation. But that's a perfect example. Yeah. Not knowing culture. Ask, hey, where the good neighbor? What's going on in this neighborhood? Looking at the crime reports. Is it really like that? No, it's like that. To where I can make conscious decisions on what rules, laws, and lack of that will get you fucked up a lot. A lot of times, your fuck ups in life comes from not knowing rules, laws, and code. And it's not even rocket science. It's just you didn't do
Your due diligence.
the diligence to look it up. You just didn't do your arrogance and your cockiness and your perceived intelligence, which translate to your ego, made you think, I got this. I know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Fucked you up. Mm-hmm. So I end up taking the L. Big L. Rules, laws, culture.
That's the rules.
All right. Now this translates over into this, the trap.
The trap.
That story's the best.
That's crazy. I thought I heard them all, but
Oh, bro.
keep surprising me.
Hey, You the luckiest man alive.
Like, sight unseen,
Ask
still
around.
made it out. All right,
Yeah.
y'all. Chasing challenge in the zone of incompetence.
Chasing challenge in a zone of incompetence. So now, last week's discussion had me really thinking, because we were talking about zones of genius, zones of excellence, zones of incompetence. And the fact that we do what we do, but then also going deeper into why we do it, why we choose to play in the zones of incompetence when we have other areas out there that we can accelerate our growth and success. So let's keep going.
The emotional pull.
The emotional pull. Here we go. So first, I'm sorry. Do you guys remember this? So that you guys remember the discussion last week about the 4 zones of genius? Okay. Go ahead.
Many people leave their zone of genius because familiarity feels boring, mastery becomes routine, ego wants new validation, and they confuse growth with novelty. They crave struggle because struggle feels like progress, even when it's misdirected.
Okay, stop. This is some real shit. So the body, you know how people say, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy? Because the body craves busyness because it makes you feel like you're doing something. You're making progress because you're busy. You could be busy doing nothing. You can be busy playing Tetris on your phone. But the feeling of being busy is what you crave, not the actual act of getting something done. Same thing when it comes to zone of genius. When something comes natural to you and you flow state with it all the time, your brain can get bored. Ain't that some shit? Your brain could get bored because it wants the challenge of struggle because you come from struggle. It wants the challenge of struggle because you come from struggle. So when you're not struggling, your mind tells you something is wrong. Something's wrong. Something's not right. I don't feel struggle. Shit, what's going on? I need to be over here where it's harder for me. In business, that's why it's just counterintuitive in business. Keep going.
They mistake discomfort for development, not realizing that growth comes from depth, not distraction.
See what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of us get caught in these places of incompetence. Because we want to something doesn't feel right. Something don't feel right. Next slide.
The result, they start chasing dreams that live in their zone of incompetence, things they admire in others but have no natural wiring or love for.
Okay. So, I'm just a natural with this basketball shit. I just grew 6'6", and I'm just a natural. Killing. I'm the best everywhere I step foot. I'm the best. Everywhere I go, I'm the best. I start winning championships after championships after championships, all-stars, MVPs, titles, scoring titles. You know what? I'm going to try this baseball shit.
Well,
Because I need to struggle. That's what a lot of us do in business and in life. I don't want this. Y'all gonna be mad at me. I don't want this hardworking, good, calm, collected brother. I want this felon.
Uh-oh.
I want this YN. Because it puts me, like the struggle makes me feel comfortable because that's where I come from. His I've heard this from women before.
Party off too.
His calmness and coolness, and I try to fight and argue with him, and he don't even want to argue. It just irritates me.
Baby, go heal.
He not jealous. He don't yell. That shit is not toxic enough for me. I want to go in the zone of struggle. I don't want to go in the zone of ease and happiness and joy. I don't want to do that shit. We do this all the time. That ain't where your money is. You know why? Because for every 10 steps you take, a person over here can get there in 1. And over time, you tire out. Your stress levels, your cortisol, your IQ drops, all the kind of breakdown that happens over here in struggle when this person is in ease and they look younger and they like, how you look so young? How come you in such great shape? How come you happy all the time? Because I chose the path of always being in places where I'm excellent or genius. That ain't for me. That's not for me. I may love it over there, but it's not for me because now we're gonna. I know there's a question coming up that we're gonna answer later on. Let's keep going.
A talented storyteller chasing crypto because it looks lucrative.
Oh, next. Oh, there you go. Sorry. Go ahead.
A gifted athlete trying to become a fashion designer overnight. A skilled manager trying to be a motivational speaker just because it looks impactful. Outcome, frustration, burnout, and inconsistency.
Stop copying. Stop copying people.
Run your own race.
Run your own race. Stop doing shit because it looks easy for them. It's not that's their journey. That's not yours. But a lot of times we looky-loo over in everybody's life and we want to copy what they doing because it looks good and they making it look easy. That's because they zone of excellence. Of course it look easy, but not for you. So that's what happens. Frustration, burnout, inconsistency. There's some shit that I'm terrible at. You would never know because I'm not trying it. I've tried it already. I've realized it. Why would I waste my energy on now unless it was necessary for me to do on my journey? I will dive in there and learn it and get better. If it's necessary for my purpose, I'm jumping in there and I'm gonna get in there and get better. But that's where frustration, burnout, inconsistency comes in. And here's the thing. Time, attention, money. What's most important?
Time.
So if you are swimming around in your zone of incompetence and you determined to make that shit happen, how many years are you going to waste? To when you could have been doing something that flows easy. Some people just got it. Imagine if you just got it and you have the work ethic and you have the discipline and you have the hard work and you just got it. Ain't nobody fucking with you.
That's right.
Like we got to witness that with Michael Jordan. He just got it. But then he coupled that with discipline, hard work, consistency, savage work ethic. Remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that. We're talking about you. No, I'm just kidding.
So what?
So remember that. So that's where it could start. Is your platform can be laid on that. Personally, I'm an artist, right? That's just who I am. My whole life. I'm an artist. I draw, I paint, sketch, acrylic. I can paint realism, face. I love art. Have all the little ADHDs and all the little the little acronyms for being hyper and shit like that. But when I was a kid, I will be quiet and still for an hour drawing. And I've been doing it for so long that it's not hard for me no more. I've been drawing for so long that I had an extra little bone pop out of this finger.
Wow.
That I guess because pencils have been pressing on it for so long that it created like the bone comes out to support it.
You developed a bone spur, bruh?
A bone spur, yeah. So of that, like that much drawing, whatever you call it.
That's crazy.
But when I got older, the culture said you don't make money on art.
That's right.
You can't make money with art.
That's right.
So I listened. Where do you make money at? Tech. Well, then that's where I'm going. And I stopped. I went to tech. And squished my fucking round, there's a square peg in a round hole. Like I squished my square peg in this round hole and figured out a way through crazy amounts of focus and discipline. Stop.
Pause.
Yeah, stop.
There's no card on that. They reaching.
Thank you. It's that weed. Anyway. And did it 8 years. Right? But then you lose time. You lose time because you're listening to the culture. So I lost time listening to the culture. So remember that. It wasn't until I had my own aha moment of like, no, this is what happened. It was only like 4 black people in the building where I worked in tech. And one was a manager. So he was the gold standard for all the other 3 black people because he was the only manager in the building. So he came up to me one day and he just had this slave energy. He was like, hey man, you're doing good things, brother, but you're just a little too loud. You just gotta be quiet and just let these people do what they want to do. Like, you just stop making so much noise. And it was almost like, you don't want Master come around here. I've been here for 16 years. You gotta listen to me. And I was like, is that what I want to be? I can't ever see myself doing that shit, being here 16 years like that. No disrespect to you and you're able to take care of your family, but that shit ain't me. So I start searching and it led me back to art and jumped. The first parachute I saw, I jumped off that motherfucker because that's where it's easy for me. So when people say, man, the designs are dope, and I don't even know why they dope. I don't know how. I just know the years and years and years and years of doing it and the ease at which it was done, compound it together and make it that. Stay in that lane. Stay where people say, man, how you do that? Man, you make it look so easy. Stay in that lane. That's where your money is, at least as a foundation. Next slide.
The genius springboard. Mastery as leverage. Contrast that with people who use their genius zone as a launch pad, not an escape hatch.
This is the key right here.
They extend their genius into new realms rather than abandoning it.
Okay. So you don't have to say, marketing comes to me so easy, but it's like, stressful and it's boring. So I'm gonna go over here to flowers. You got it. You got it. You got it. So it's not abandoning it. It's leveraging it. It's using it as a springboard. Here's some examples.
Ice Cube. Genius zone. storytelling and perspective through words.
So he's a genius storyteller, right? Anybody ever heard Dope Man back when it first came out? Man, it's crazy. And perspective through words. Keep going.
Hip hop was his first language of storytelling. He evolved that genius into films, Friday, Boys in the Hood, Barbershop. He didn't run from his genius. He scaled it into new mediums.
Okay, so hip hop was his first language, his first language of storytelling. He used that as a springboard. He didn't abandon it. He wrote some of the songs that we sing to this day when he was 15, 16 years old. 15, 16 years old. Dope Man was like 16 years old. He rode on a bus on the way to school type shit.
That's crazy.
So that came easy for him. People been rapping their whole life and never had one hit song. And that he wrote that as a teenager, barely out of puberty teenager. That's his zone of genius. But his eyes and his minds were set on much bigger platforms, right? So he ended up parlaying that into writing movies. And some of the very favorite cult classic movies that we like in our culture, he wrote. That's how you do it. You leverage it. You don't abandon it. Next slide. Another example.
Virgil Abloh, I think. Genius Zone, design thinking in remix culture. Moved from DJing to fashion to architecture to directing. Always remixing form and meaning.
So rest in peace to him. But he started DJing, remixing, taking old samples, new samples, and merging them together in music, club. That was his passion. So then he moved that to remixing clothes to the point where he took over the game. Kanye West hired him to be the fashion design with it, and he ended up taking that to that next realm to where big brands start wanting to partner with him because they liked the way he remixed things. So he take the same philosophy of, I could mix these two things together that most people don't even see that can be mixed together, but I'll do it in these different formats in these different realms. He got hired before he passed away. He got hired as Louis Vuitton's director.
Crazy. That's big.
Yeah, so he had his own before. The reason why Pharrell got the job at Louis Vuitton is because Virgil Abloh died, because he had it.
It's crazy.
Keep going. What did it say?
He built bridges between lanes using one consistent core, creative interpretation.
So his genius was how to reinterpret things. So you can take that same genius and move it across mediums. You don't have to lose it. See what I'm saying? It's the beauty of it. Next slide.
When you get bored with your genius, don't abandon it, expand it.
So remember this: when you get bored with something, or if you have something that you feel is boring, find a way to macro and meta it. You might just be in the micro of it. You might just been doing. What's a broader way to do it? Like last week, I was saying I probably do about 3 to 5% artist stuff now. So the idea is, how can I expand my creativity in art and building companies and brands versus drawing a picture or designing a t-shirt? Then it becomes funner for me versus, I'm looking at these spreadsheets. I'm looking at this. I got to talk to this person. I got to let this person go. Now the creativity comes around building the actual brand, creating the actual brand. Next slide.
Use the mastery you've built as currency to buy entry into new arenas. That's how innovators move from being good to being generational.
Yes. Next slide. I fired through them.
God dang.
I fired through them quickly. Any questions?
Not a question, but a comment.
Okay.
So this class was helpful because I constantly find myself like, my genius is in creativity. And in all of the things that I've ever done for work, which I started working really young at like 16, every job that I've always been anything good at has always been from like a creative space, from hair and makeup to just like I've always had a creative, like photography, web design, event planning. It was always in the lane of creativity. And building my business, my gym that I've had for 11 years now, I would find myself going through ruts where I would be distracted or just not excited because there's not, or how I was seeing it, there's not really a lot of space to have creative flow with working out. It's like, you not eating this, you messing up your calories, you're not creating a deficit, you skipping your workouts, right? It's like a lot of like hand smacking. Mm-hmm. And that's like sucks for my creative brain. And last week's class, it made me think about ways to expand my creativity. But today's class was helpful because it made me think about the times when I was happiest with my gym is when I was being creative, like painting, buying new equipment, reorganizing, new staff members, and what you said, I would think about all the menial tasks like sheets and protocols and retraining people, like the things that my brain is like, this is not fun. And instead, I could be looking at it as a way of re-engineering systems that are still like a creative space if recontextualized. And so that was just really helpful because I would be an idiot to leave what I do. It's something that I'm really good at, and it's easy for me to connect with people. It's very purposeful. But I will admit that doing something for over a decade and then always being like, but I'm so happy when I do this thing. You gave a lot of solid context. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, it's dope. And can anybody think of ways that Shakina can use her creativity in the expansion and building of her business? I just thought of one, dope one.
Share them, please.
Like, because you're so creative, right? You could come up with new creative ways to do a workout, new creative equipment, new creative ways to get a stretch, new creative way. Like, that creativity can extend out into aspects of your business to where when people walk in, it don't look like the average gym. It looks like somebody with creativity founded this place. You know what I'm saying? Like, it oozes creativity. Like 510 Media isn't like when you walk into 510 Media, the first thing you think about is not just excellence, but black excellence. So you think this motherfucker must be like Black Panther or something who runs this, because his purpose, the zone of genius, is what's running the underlying governing energy under that. You see, which is that's what we do. We can have a construction landscaping company. It don't matter, but the zone of genius that oozes out, that bleeds through, is where we can really show who we are. Go ahead, and then Josh.
Okay. First, I want to ask, are you open to clients having like before and after pictures in terms of like goals? Okay, well, if that's the case, I was going to say maybe you using your creative outlet to create some type of backdrop. So when people enter your gym, it's like a before photo, but something that still uplifts them. And then they can come back to it and circle around and like, you know, take a photo in front of some type of landmark or something creative that you made inside of your space so that people can document their journey in like a creative way. Mm-hmm. So like the background of it or the aesthetic could be whatever it is that you feel is complementary to your space, but something that will like support and motivate and engage people.
That's
people.
dope.
Yeah.
That's fire. Josh? All right. After.
I don't know if it's tapping into like the creativity, but one thing I've seen recently with like 3 gyms in Oakland is like collaboration. So maybe seeing like how Pinpoint can collaborate with these gyms and then have like a content strategy between both gyms. I've seen a lot of gyms do that right now.
It's tight. Thank you.
Shakina's hella competitive. We can say, hey, Pinpoint challenges gym number 2 to a whatever off. And have content around that. That's dope. Josh?
Yeah, before you jump off the mic, I wanted to back up to ask you a question in the beginning when you were talking about culture and creating culture.
Mm-hmm.
How far can I go with just asking questions? Because you were saying a lot about just go back, observe, observe. But isn't there a space between observation and action, which is like asking questions and seeing how far you can go?
Absolutely. So it's data collection, right? So the first thing you're doing is you're observing your data collection. All AI is doing is mimicking humans in a way of how they understand laws, rules, and culture. So you're doing the same thing. You're gathering. Now you're gathering for the purpose of taking action. So you once you put your puzzle piece together, I'm like, okay, here are the laws, rules, and culture in this environment. Now I know how to move. I'm gonna move this way. I'm gonna move. Now I know how to move, so I'm not surprised by a lot. So yes, but it's what you're saying is correct, but it's for the purpose of action.
I was just going back to the point of creativity, like for the gym, outside of like the backdrop or like that being a point for like social media and like promotion. I was even gonna say like just being a fashion stylist. I thought of this. If at the end, like when they do reach their goal or as some type of incentive, that they'll come back around to that same backdrop and like maybe be styled or like do something else for them to like come into this new version of themselves. Like, I'm not sure, but something that crossed my mind, just for them to see themselves in a new light and just to encourage them to be motivated to continue down that path. Because sometimes people reach a goal and then get comfortable or feel like they have this wiggle room to slack off and they don't, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like a lifestyle and it's never ending. So maybe just something to like propel that newer version that you're creating in that space.
No, thank you.
Dope. All right. Anything else? All good. All right, y'all.
That's crazy. All right, y'all. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So a couple things. Today I want to try something. So next year we discussed that. Well, let me just restate this, and we're going to come out with official communication about this. But next year, the public live classes, they won't exist. We'll have live classes for paid students, and we'll release clips, like summarized clips from the class. And the reason for that is not because we're looking for some economic opportunities, but one of the reasons that we're going to make some of these adjustments is because we want to make sure that we have room to do some exercises in class. So I want us to actually play with some of these principles and ideas. So tonight we're going to actually engage in some exercises. And this single exercise we're going to engage in is going to be a sample of what's going to be a large part of next year, which is when we're not only going to be in class learning additional new ideas and revisiting some old ideas, but the plan is to actually create exercises where we could do group activities individual activities, share, have conversations. And that doesn't really translate to live. Like if you try to do a video live of that, it's kind of a lot of dead space. Because if we say, hey, let's take 15 minutes to work on this exercise, it just won't translate. And then let's say if we're walking around, me and Cordes going between the groups and we're challenging certain ideas and helping the group think about certain things and develop their strategical thinking, that won't translate as well. Some of that stuff just won't translate to live. So, but those who are in the class, who are taking the class, are doing the exercises, there's a way that will be valuable because they can also engage in the exercise at home, but it just doesn't make good YouTube material for long periods of silence or people that, let's go play some dun, 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 dun. That just doesn't translate. So with that being said, we're going to attempt to get to a fun exercise this evening. So before we even get to those slides, which is about 4 or 5 slides away, I want you guys to think about a personal challenge. It can be personal, business-wise, but a personal challenge you're dealing with. So it could be a business, a problem you had last week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. You could have solved it, but I want to use this problem, if you're comfortable sharing it, to shape the way our brain, to shape our approach, some new strategical approaches to solving problems. So I'm going to start working on like different techniques we use to solve really big problems. And after you guys go through the exercise, that will actually change the way the week looks. Like when you leave here, the way everything will change the way it looks to you, because you'll start to see different layers. Because being that we're going to start tapping into abstract, once you learn how to think through an abstract lens, everything changes. Everything changes. I mean, literally everything changes. All the typical things you hear, like a lot of common conversations you will hear in barbershops or in households where people are complaining about politics, religion, race, gender. Those conversations are going to totally change to you. When you look at the infrastructure in your communities, your cities, it's literally, the goal is to reshape all of this and open up this. There's a point in your thinking. If you can reshape your thinking, you can empower your creativity and your innovation. But many of us don't have much access to our innovation and our creativity because we're trapped behind a lot of the ways that we think. A lot of ways that we think seals our future to be a copy and paste of our past. And so for us to actually explore new possibilities, you just can't say, well, I'm just going to do it. But if you have all these rituals and rules and ways of thinking, then all you're doing is being motivated by tomorrow, but actually showing up tomorrow with yesterday's practices and beliefs. So if I don't teach you, so what I want to do is get into these exercises so you don't just nod your head. And I want to see if you actually understand it by us engaging in activities and going back and forth. And it's going to be, it's going to be a little bit of friction because sometimes you may feel like, I don't want to be wrong. Well, God damn it. Look, I'm sorry. This is not once again, I don't, okay, I'm going to talk from my normal East Oakland tone. I don't preach bitch assness. I don't do bitch assness really well. So this class will not be fully invested in your bitch assness. This class will be invested in your growth. And part of your growth is you're going to have to get comfortable with being wrong and realize being wrong is the beginning of learning something new. So every time you make a mistake, that means you have the ability to grow. If you don't make any mistakes, that means you are avoiding any point of friction that will help you grow, right? But when you sense I'm making mistakes, I'm getting something wrong, that means this is an opportunity for you to evolve. Some of you guys are so protective over looking good, you're a fool. A fool looks good to himself all the time. He'll walk around all day long talking about, man, don't I just look great? Anything I know is right? You're a fool. A person who's actually making progress feels wrong all the time. I feel wrong all the time. All the time. I'm always questioning I question all my beliefs. I don't have any loyalty to my beliefs. I cheat on my beliefs all the time. I find a cuter belief, I'm out. It doesn't take much time at all. But what about last night? It don't work no more. I'm out. But some of y'all are too loyal to those beliefs. Y'all treat those beliefs like you're marrying them. And I'm never going to leave you till death do us part. Not Nana. And too cute this change. I'm out. That's how you treat your beliefs. Treat your beliefs like a young dude who just discovered women for the first time. Have no focus on them old ass beliefs. Dump them. Mm-hmm. Dump them like a bad habit. All right. That being said, Let's jump in that first slide. Hopefully you guys just, through class, just kind of try to think about personal problems and we'll get there. All right. Ready, Shakina?
Yes.
Let's do this, King.
It's easy to confuse abstract thinking with other cognitive skills. Here's a breakdown of what it is not.
So we're going to get into, because I think abstract thinking still is very difficult for people to understand, because I've heard a lot of conversations. It's important for us to discuss what it's not. Because I think it's easy to kind of integrate abstract into all these other subjects, but it's actually not those subjects. Let's get to the first slide.
It's not a replacement for concrete thinking.
Go ahead.
Concrete thinking is focused on facts, tangible objects, and literal interpretations. It's essential for daily tasks, from following a recipe to assembling furniture. Abstract thinking complements but doesn't replace concrete thought. A good leader, for instance, must be able to think abstractly about a company's vision and concretely about the quarterly budget.
Yeah, so a lot of times, some people took concrete as being inferior. What I'm trying to highlight in the previous class is that those who were part of slavery, Jim Crow, sharecropping, the labor force of America, concrete is how we move. Concrete people get shit done. They don't think about why or how and what and how the context of stuff, but they get shit done. So you can be so abstract to the point you ain't getting shit done, right? I got a family member. He can go straight abstract all day long with you. But when it comes time, okay, let's go do it tomorrow. Somehow he just trips over every move he makes, right? So there's a balance between the two. One doesn't replace the other. One has to complement the other. It's just that we are understimulating and underdeveloping abstract thinking. By the way, Court's 3/4 of his class was all abstract. Rules, laws, and culture is all abstract. And the reason he has to use so many by the way, those examples were amazing. I don't know if you guys you guys don't teach, some of those of you who don't teach class, to pull those examples down and lay them out that way, that's not easy. But he used a lot of stories and concrete examples for us to land these very, very strong abstract thoughts. And so where if abstract was easy to transfer, he could have just said it and moved on. He could have just had you read the sentence and got it? Next one, right? But the reality is abstract is that difficult. And so it doesn't replace concrete. It doesn't replace, getting the shirt printed or delivering the document to the client or dropping the check off. That's concrete and it has to be done. But abstract is the complement of that. Go ahead, next slide.
It's not the same as being book smart.
Mm-hmm.
While abstract thinking is crucial in academic fields like philosophy or mathematics, it's not limited to academia. A skilled artist who sees the relationship between color and emotion, or a brilliant mechanic who understands the underlying system of an engine's failure, is demonstrating abstract thought in a non-academic setting. So
a lot of times you think because you read books and you are very technical, which is valuable. Once again, these are not non-valuable things, but you have to separate it. This is why a lot of times you hear about a lot of college students. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I deal with a lot of college students who often claim that they went to college and didn't receive an abstract experience. They received a very book smart experience, but they didn't gain the abstract. And abstract is but why? It's going but why? Matter of fact, I could tell you one area where you find out you're not comfortable with abstract thinking is around kids. You've been around a kid, that why kid, but why? That third why is an abstract answer. And many of us don't even know how to communicate it, think about it. Matter of fact, we get frustrated because we realize, right? And a lot of times you meet somebody that went to school for computers, but why? But why? Did you go to school for a job? Do you even understand the purpose of a school? Why is a school there? Now you're going to start moving into abstract thinking as you go further into asking deeper and deeper questions. Now, this is important. Abstract is the water you must swim in to be strong in innovation. So this again, abstract is the water you must swim in to be strong in innovation. Next slide.
It's not just daydreaming.
This is what I think this is what a lot of people think it is. Go ahead.
While both involve imagination, Abstract thinking is structured, purposeful process. It seeks to find patterns and connections to solve problems or create something new. Daydreaming can be a free-form, unguided mental exercise without a specific goal. Abstract thinking is intentional and often rigorous, even when it feels creative.
So this used to be the line I used to draw between professional artists and daydreaming artists. So abstract artists, even though they're disconnecting from the concrete, is designed to achieve a goal to move in a certain direction. And it translates to an outcome, and they value it. They build some relationship between the outcome and the public they seek to serve. You know that artist who talks about being starving all the time? They're the artists who are they're daydreaming. They're not abstract. So they want to just produce this art, and they don't really care what the world, they don't think about this connections. It's more or less like, this is just what I feel. It's very rigorous and purposeful when you're doing abstract thinking. Like, it's very intentional. Why am I thinking about this? As opposed to like, and no, it's nothing wrong. Once again, it's nothing wrong with daydreaming. Just, I don't want you to confuse the two. Abstract is actually a tool. Daydreaming is almost like a mental exercise that can help you with your abstract thinking, but abstract thinking serves a purpose. I don't want you guys to get caught in this, like, just because I'm philosophical and I read hella philosophical books and I sit around rooms and discuss her, that's daydreaming. That's not abstract. It's a big difference. And it's very important because I don't want you guys to think that I'm creating a class where I just think very philosophical, so I'm obviously understanding this abstract class. No, if you're not solving your problems and you don't have ownership around the patterns and the systems and the structure and seeing how these things all interconnect and the patterns of everything around you, then that's not abstract. Next one.
It's not the opposite of logic. In fact, abstract thinking is a form of logic.
There you go.
It uses conceptual reasoning to deduce patterns and principles. For example, understanding that justice isn't a single event, but a complex system of rules and social contracts is a logical, abstract process. It moves beyond a simple if-then statement to consider interconnected variables and long-term consequences.
So, all mental models are abstract, right? Mental models are very logical. But if you pay attention to them, they're recognizing some type of system or pattern that exists that they can actually exploit, take advantage of, that may not be physically touched by your hand. Most laws, you can't touch them. You ever think about, like, how do you make a man go to prison? If, like, just say there was no prisons, and you got to sit there and go, how do we get a man to stay in prison? How do you get another man to go get that man and put him in that prison? How do you get another man to help keep another man, keep that man in prison? Do you understand all the abstract structures you have to create to make men organized that you will never meet, to keep another man in prison? That's crazy. Okay, let me give you another example of how crazy abstract is. Cats who were able to read the solar system couldn't see the solar system. Let me give you another abstract. Imagine before there was a negative number. Negatives don't even make sense to the human mind. Think about a negative 7. Right? Have you ever seen a negative 7?
There was 7 and I ate them all.
She just said there was -7 donuts left in that room. But for a man to come up and say, let's play with the idea of negatives. I want you guys to understand, like, there's so many abstract things around us that we just take for granted, that a lot of science is built upon abstract. The black hole. As a scientist, well, what does a black hole do? Well, we don't know. Have you been inside one? I don't think I'm coming out, so no. But abstract analysis is when they saw a pattern over here and said, based upon this pattern over here, this is why the universe moves the way it moves over there. That's totally abstract. They didn't have no spaceships when a lot of these ideas were developed. Einstein was an abstract thinking animal. He produced so many abstract analysis that we still are currently using.
Yeah.
but didn't have the actual concrete physical examples. Do you understand that most of the things that a city being ran and managed and designed, you know how abstract that is? Yeah. If you try to run a city and you don't understand abstract thinking, you may underserve the city with your concrete logic. I mean, I don't think you understand how powerful abstract is all around you, but if you can't see it, you can't even understand why some things in society and universe works. My uncle called me today, bless his soul, and he came by to see me for a second. He's like, we do all the work out here, and the rich take all of our money. I said, that's very concrete. He said, what? I said, okay. If you take 20 people in a room and have them work hard, what will they achieve? With no direction. Chaos and war and death. That's what they achieve, right? For example, hierarchy. Hierarchy. You heard that word before, right? Hierarchy. If you remove hierarchy, you know what happens to man? We fight. Because I say, well, why you should do this? Oh, we wouldn't even trust each other. We wouldn't even know how to talk to each other. So when a group comes along and be like, we should have no hierarchy, I'm like, you're asking for anarchy. You're asking for absolute chaos. But see, you would even know you should stop that because you might say, last time I had a hierarchy, I was abused by that hierarchy. And then you'll support that movement, not realizing you're supporting a movement that's destroying everything you believe in.
Now everybody mad is crying.
Hierarchy has its place, and it's absolutely abstract. You can't see hierarchy. You just know it exists. So, for example, if I say to you, hey, how do you know most of the things that you know right now comes from your relationship to hierarchy? Because you didn't study most of the shit you know. Even when you went to this, even you sitting in this class right now, there is a certain amount of hierarchy that I have to be assumed about me for you to sit in this class and listen to me. But if you remove hierarchy right now, we haven't got past the first class still.
Period.
You guys keep going with this. This is an invisible thing. So if you don't understand these invisible things are planted in society, you might say, I want a family. What are the invisible principles in a family that has to be protected, that if you remove that one principle, it can cripple the whole family? Or do you just think family is this organic thing that God's just put together and the gods just oversee it and all of a sudden everybody lives happily ever after? So let's say now you're an adult. You're not a kid no more. It's my job to manage my family. Can you? Or do you think manage your family is just saying, I'm right? There's a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of stuff here that a lot of us grew up, we're growing up as adults and have no abstract ownership. And once you develop your eyes and learn how to see it, you realize, oh, this is important. That's important. This is important. And you won't be fooled by somebody who has a separate agenda, who's going through temporary stress, frustration, or let's say they see a quick opportunity. They see a trend they want to jump on. Going back to court, they want to copy and paste a winner. And because you can't see abstract, you just join these ideas to not only discover that your due diligence on life is life itself is understanding the abstracts, because the due diligence is the abstracts. Isn't that crazy? When Court bought that house, it wasn't about, he could have sent an appraiser over there. Appraiser says, yeah, the house looks cool. I ain't gonna shoot the ass, but I can't. Look, yeah, it's about right. It's about right, But the dude is not obligated to sit in that neighborhood morning, noon, and night and watch the neighborhood change. Like, for example, anybody know in the hood, the most peaceful time in the hood is early in the morning, because all the thugs and dope dealers are asleep. So you could go walking and they'd be like, hey, about 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, start to change real fast. And at 7 or 8 o'clock, it's on and cracking. Mm-hmm. But if you went to that house early in the morning to look at that house, you think, oh, this, it's a little messy, but I can do some cleaning. Yeah, this can be worked with. Come at 7, 8, and you be like, okay, did that dude just go by me with a white face? What happened? What happened? That crack.
Yo, that's literally how I got gassed into moving to Oakland. I lived in Union City in a really nice neighborhood. And my friend was like, yeah, we got these nice big 2-bedroom apartments with walk-in closets. Back then I was into clothes. I was like, sold, walk-in closet. They were like, all right, open house is between 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock. I was like, okay, I could make that work. It was beautiful. Everything was beautiful. I moved in. The first day, a car crashed into the building. I was like, what did I do? It was like a play setting where like all the lights go down, the curtain comes up, and then it's just like a whole
play.
different mood. I was
Yes.
like, oh, I got God. I got God.
But and then honestly, like once you learn how to think, you getting God, or all of us getting God in other situations, become less and less and less, because you learn to look for the abstract, as opposed to. And I promise you, there's so many things we say all the time we don't understand what's involved. Even if I say let's get into trade-offs, you can't even engage trade-offs because you can't see the abstracts to know, hey, when I change this, which seems like an innocent change, I'm going to lose that, and that loss there could be a little bit more expensive, a little bit more time consuming than you expected.
Would you say there's a connection between abstract thinking and intuition? Or am I reaching?
No. That's. Can it be abstract? Yeah, but is there a connection directly to it? No. I mean that. Okay. Could your intuition be an abstract translation happening that you haven't been able to translate? Yes. But the problem with, and is intuition in itself abstract? Yes. But to make it a birthplace or a place that creates abstract, no. Huh? No, because it's you can be it could be an abstract observation, but more than likely it's saying that is the creation. Abstract is there's everything around you. There's nothing that you exist in that's not abstract. So if you say anything you want to do has a group of rules, policies, structures, agreements, culture, values, everything he just said about rules, laws, culture, that's all abstract. But can you see it when you first walk in? Nah. If he had drove by that house and didn't stop and watch the house and knock on the door and all that other stuff, he just drove by, just saw the building, he saw none of the abstractions. If he came at the right time in the morning and sat in front of the house and had a full discussion with somebody, he saw none of the abstracts. He won't see the laws. He won't see the government requirements. He won't see the principle, all the values and systems that surround it, which are all abstract. They may translate into money lost out of his pocket, but his due diligence just can't see it. Tuition ain't got nothing to do with that. He can have all the intuition he wants, but that house is about that culture around that house ain't got shit to do with intuition. You're like, I have this intuition. I don't know what that means. All right, next one.
It's not just big picture thinking.
Mm-hmm. This is what a lot of people think is also abstract, is being big picture. I'm thinking about the big picture. Son, keep going.
While it's a key component of big picture thinking, abstract thought also involves recognizing patterns in the small details.
Small detail. And I say small details, you guys have no idea how some small details are actually bigger than you think. Go ahead.
For example, a data scientist uses abstract thinking to see trends and relationships within thousands of data points, identifying a larger pattern that no one individual point could reveal.
Good. So a lot of times, one of the ways that we're going to get into it in a little bit later, and I have to touch this because abstract thinking is extended discussion. You ever heard you talk about complex adaptive systems? Remember that was a couple of years ago I was driving that? That's all abstract thinking. It's what is the nature of when a group gets together, what changes about that group and what impact does the group have, and what type of intelligence rises from the group that individuals within the group are not driving, but it's the nature of the group coming together. That's all abstract thinking. Absolutely abstract thinking. So system thinking is absolutely abstract thinking. But then, and once again, there's first principle thinking, second principle thinking, first principle thinking, second order thinking, third order thinking, by the way, system thinking, there's a few more. These are all at the heart, because we have to go over first. So, for example, Court gave a deeper example of first principle thinking earlier, which I'm going to bring it back probably next week or a week after. But first principle thinking, I'm going to show you guys actually how to use it. like really, really use it, right? And when you use it, everything we're gonna do is be abstract. So I'm gonna have especially next year, I'm gonna have a whole bunch of abstract exercises because. So okay, let me be frank and be kind of transparent. You know, I grew up poor and black, 73rd Lockwood, 69ville. And we had to borrow food from the church because we couldn't buy our own food. In that process of growing up, one of the most common things I would hear is that the reason we weren't achieving certain goals is because of white supremacy. And I brought that wholeheartedly without a question. Now, I'm not removing that there wasn't a form of white supremacy. It obviously was. But in order for white supremacy to work, we would have to be an agent in the process. It doesn't work if we resist it. It just doesn't. It just absolutely doesn't. That doesn't mean you're going to live, but it doesn't work. There's been cases where cats try to go against it, but just bad position, bad strategy, didn't live.
It was being court.
But white supremacy was real. But what I discovered was, so then you watch, when I was coming up, you know, I'm much older than most of the people listening to me, there was a middleman that maintained the presence of racism. So, for example, if Court Smith was coming into existence in 1962 or 65, Court would probably have to pay triple to double for his clothing that the white company would pay for. That's a middleman. You know, internet destroyed all the middlemen.
Amen.
Like literally just wiped all the middlemen off the planet, right? So a lot of things that we didn't have access to, our previous parents and mothers and ancestors didn't have access to, we have access to. But why is it that we're not going through the same doors? And one of the things I realized is that when to go through those doors, there's a certain type of thinking that's required to see the opportunities. Going back to when Corey was saying, knowing how to find the opportunities in the industry. But that language doesn't exist in our culture. It just doesn't. So some of our reasons for teaching abstract thinking is that I go around and talk to black people from East Coast to West Coast, North to South. Now, I can't speak for my African brothers and sisters. I can't talk about my South American African brothers and sisters. But for African Americans, abstract thinking hasn't been passed down to us. It's not written into our culture. And what stops abstract thinking from even taking off in our culture is defensive thinking. It's almost like the stop gate that plugs the process, because abstract thinking, defensive thinking automatically creates tunneling and concrete, like we're almost trying to defend these concrete positions. Abstract thinking is saying, I understand how you feel about it, but is there an opportunity there? Also, when you feel negativity, what's the win? Can you see the other angles, other plays? Can you see the residue of your actions and the residues of counteractions? Defensiveness doesn't go that far. It's too busy trying to be right and trying not to be wrong, or trying to defend, trying to protect, and can't really see the different levels that are produced from counter behavior. So the goal is moving forward to give you guys abstract ownership, especially next year. So now when you guys see a problem, you guys be able to run through a laundry list of processes, and people are like, how do you come up with these great solutions? It's because you learned how to turn that part of your brain on. And then when you turn that part of your brain on, don't think when you turn it on, it's coming on. You're going to flip that switch and that light's dim as shit. You're like, God damn it. But over time, if you keep just working with the process, that light will get brighter to some point where you'll walk in a room and you'll be able to like process 7 steps before the person is finished talking about the first step. That's when you know your abstract part of your brain is working. All right, next slide. I'll go ahead, Scott.
Just want to say there's so many great investment theses that have come from abstract thinking, like what's it called? The Big Short, the movie about the guy who shorted the 2008 housing crisis. Mm-hmm. He was the only person because he was able to put everything together, all these different pieces, and be like, no, this is going to collapse, and I'm going to make hella money off. He had to build his own system to make the money. And then like GameStop, the guy was like, this is a perfectly good company and video games are blowing up. Why is this stock continuing to go down? Oh, let me do some investigation. I found out that all these hedge funds are shorting the company just because they can. Turns out it's an infinite money bank. Like, there's so many good investment theses that come from being able to put all the pictures together abstractly and say, like you're saying, opportunity.
Matter of fact, if you go back, even taking Scott's point even further, I think the black community, poor communities, even the woman community, I can't speak for LGBT, I don't know the LGBTQ plus community that well, but women community, black community, and poor communities are so underutilized. Because if they've seen the abstract opportunities, they realize, oh, Jesus, these opportunities are crazy. But if you're stuck in these concrete, anecdotal stories, you don't see your opportunities. You don't even know how to move and do something slightly different. Like, I remember a long time ago, woman says, most of these women companies are ran by men. That ain't the man's fault. You have more power than men in your own industry. Like, black people would love to get their money to black people if they provide them the best service. Mm-hmm. But if a white person says, I give you 10 times better service, 10 times, all of a sudden we go, yeah, it's been a long time. That's the game. So at the end of the day, as you start to see these abstract, these things that people are asking for that other cultures can't see, and it's not good or bad, it's just everybody can't see everything. So when you are born something within a certain group and you have a space where you can operate with your power of genius, and yet you can't see the abstractions, you're missing opportunities that's laying on your table. They just waiting for you to pick it up and plant it in the soil and grow it, but you can't even see it because you're over here. You're looking down the road, overlooking all the opportunities that are right on your front porch.
It's the antidote to groupthink and social proof. Everybody's going this way. There might be something right here that everybody's missing. That's
exactly what abstract provides you, some of those gifts. Even like when day-to-day problem solving, this doesn't happen every once in a while. This happens every day. I use abstract thinking every day. Not once in a while, not once a week, not once a month, every day. From business to family to personal choices. Even when you go to a doctor and you have to have a conversation, abstract thinking changes the whole conversation because the questions you can ask can even direct the doctor go, I didn't think about that. Let me look into that. And all of a sudden something new is born. All right, next slide. So we're going to do an exercise. Everybody know what this is?
An apple.
Okay. So I'm going to teach you guys it's called a ladder of abstractions. It's a way of thinking to look at abstractions through a ladder. We're going to try this exercise. I'm going to show you this is a cold-blooded exercise, right? So next slide. So in this ladder of abstraction, we're going to go through like the process of how to think about this single apple that's in front of you online. Please stay with us. This single apple in front of you, I'm going to show you how my mind, your mind, and all of our minds should learn how to work at looking at almost everything. So next slide. So first you start with the specifics. Concrete. It's a green apple, right? That's why you might say, I'm looking at a green apple, right? That's very concrete. Next level. Generalization. It's a Granny Smith. Green apple. This is what your brain needs to go, this process. First one was I saw a green apple. Stage 2, which is generalization. I'm looking at a Granny Smith green apple. Next slide. Higher level thinking. It's a fruit. Somebody can say, hey, I'm looking at a fruit. It's higher level. Still not abstract enough, but it's a fruit. Move to the next one. Now, here's pure abstractions. It's a food. It's a natural resource. Or it's at its highest of abstract thinking, it's just a commodity. Why is that important? Because in those spaces is where innovation happens. And if you can see all those different levels we just went through, go back all the way to generalization again. Let's do it again. So go back one more. So you have something in front of you. So let's start with this here. Let's look at the phone. What is this, y'all? Let's start with specific.
Cell phone.
Huh?
A Samsung cell phone.
You did too. It's important. It's a cell phone, right? Next one. What is this?
It's a Samsung.
Samsung. Next one. What is this?
A communication device.
Ah, you went too far. Yeah, yeah. Smartphone, good one. Next one, pure abstraction. Now let's go. Let's go. No, computer network's going. Now you went back up. Network is closer. Computer too high. Keep going. You guys are trying to hang on to the concrete. Let go. That's a little too loosey goosey, but yeah. What's the purpose of a phone?
To communicate.
It's a communication tool. What else is? What else kind of tool? There you go. Information tool. What else does it do? Huh?
Josh.
Oh my God.
What? Josh, do not say porn.
He said he did.
Yeah,
Adult content.
yeah, I knew it was him. I knew Josh. You gotta get. Josh is in the Rated X version of this class. Go ahead. Josh asked all the questions, and I don't answer none of them. Anyway, go ahead. so, keep going. Huh? Global connection. Yeah. Keep going. Huh? Yep. Keep going. Huh? Nah, it's kind of access, information access more than storage.
A navigation device?
Huh?
Navigation device? Like
Yes.
GPS that
Yes.
navigate information.
An outlet for creativity. Outlet for creativity.
There's one. Creativity.
I was gonna say, a tool
Tool?
to remove the middleman. Being like, because
That's the Black Panther in the room.
but like, you know, you can research anything without having to ask somebody. You have access to records, you have access to music, you have access to
You're
history.
coloring it. So you're almost coloring it to bring it back down. If you just says information access, that's important.
Okay.
Once you start putting that extra character on it, you're almost putting your abstract thinking in a prison. Huh? You're going backward. You're going upward, backwards. Yeah. Huh? That's too disconnected. Huh?
Mike.
Sorry, I'm kind of slow. I don't understand why Green Apple comes before Granny Smith. Like in my brain, it's the opposite, and maybe I'm not.
Because when the average person sees it, the average person will just walk in the store, they won't know Granny Smith. Granny Smith is more specific because first of all, is there any other green apples?
Yes.
Okay. So if you walk in the store, you tell somebody, go get me some green apples, right? You might know Granny Smith, but you might say, go get me a green Granny Smith apple. It's almost layered. It's a green apple to your human eye. Granny Smith is a particular name that's been given to the apple.
It's a brand.
To give a category, right? Then as you continue to go down that, it's a fruit. Keep going, and as you continue to go further down, and when you get to the abstract, it's almost like what role how does this service us as human beings? So, for example, I'll give you another example I would add to this. This here enhances human connection. Simple. Enhances human connection. This here enhances human entertainment. This here enhances human learning. This here, you see where I'm going with this? So now this is where you got room to play with. If I say, hey, work on some innovation, these are areas your brain has to own. Remember we say first principle thinking? This is first principle at its purest, which is, can you take it all the way down to, at the end of the day, what does this do for human beings?
Would you say then it's a more efficient method of payment?
Yes, it could be a status toy. That's what Apple found out. This represents status, right? To some people, this can represent identity. You see, I'm going with this. As you start to play with this, you start realizing these are areas you can play with. Where if you just see it as a phone, you see how far you're too high to play in an area that's going to make you some money. Apple went way into the abstract and says, "Hey, if we make this thing white, and we make this thing feel a certain kind of way, We're getting into these abstract things of what does it mean to a human being, and that's where I can pull away from competition. Not, well, my phone has more megapixels than your phone. Huh? Yeah, it could be. Addiction can be abstraction. If it has addictive behavior.
Definitely hooked.
Right?
So people are definitely hooked.
He's in charge of the microphone.
Oh, Mike
no, what I'm
Sadi? You
saying.
ain't got a mic
on
like
microphone,
Sadi?
This is what I'm saying over here without a microphone is.
But no, when you were saying like there's opportunities in abstraction, when I was thinking about like the abstraction of it being an addiction, now you see there's like a bunch of like devices and apps that you can purchase to like get rid of that addiction, like to cut down like app usage and stuff like that. So looking at it through the abstract, you can figure out opportunities, business opportunities to, you know, stop that thing.
All of the above. Those are all abstract choices, right? And where we're missing an opportunity is that we when the concrete. Think about the way you thought about this before I forced the abstractions. How many of you guys really own the abstractions, or were you really owning this from a concrete space? Think about this.
Definitely concrete.
Just think about that alone. Before I brought this discussion around the phone, were you walking around talking about the abstractions of phones? And even when you buy your phone, you in an abstraction space, or are you more in a concrete space? That's so important to understand, because now if you're a consumer, I'm not really jamming you up. But if you're trying to fall on the other side of the conversation, you should spend most of your time breaking down everything that you're engaging from a concrete all the way down to the ladder of abstractions.
Question.
Go ahead.
Would culture influencer fall into abstract for cell phones?
Yeah, but the culture is, yes. The culture response is an abstraction, right? But tapping into that culture, why would that culture find it valuable, is also an abstraction.
Well, so I'm thinking about, like, I just bought my daughter a new phone, and like literally child been glued to it since. And so I've challenged her on creating boundaries around it, or boundaries will be created for her because there's an addiction for it. And it makes me think about, especially, I mean, I feel like in general, we are more tied to devices than previous generations because of just ease of access. But in younger generations, there's a very large pull to be in front of some sort of screen a large majority of their day. And I think about how much companies that are on top of it are being very intentional about like mind control and influencing and like getting people to buy into their messaging. And so I think about like phones are something that a lot of people own and spend a lot of time on. And so it's encouraging and curating so much of our realities because of constant exposure, because we're on it all day. If that makes sense.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I think that was more political and an assessment, which there's nothing wrong with that. And you might be right. You might be 100% right. I'm not sure we're really only abstractions in there.
Okay.
Not in this ladder of abstraction. What I'm trying to get you guys to go with this.
Okay.
I'm trying to get you. So in thinking about something, what about that you absolutely know is absolutely true? That's where I'm kidding you at.
Okay.
And if you know everything you're saying is absolutely true, then that's a more rigorous way of looking at abstractions. There's nothing wrong with your analysis. But I want you to be very clear, like when you're doing these ladder of abstractions, you're going in the pipeline, okay, what do we know to be true for sure? Otherwise, could you imagine if I just took what you said and started, okay, I can find a generation of people who want nothing phones. They don't want they're young people, don't want screens, right? It's why did this generation exist like that? What this generation exists like that? What about their experiences that's gelling or creating this need or desire? That's where the power's at. Not, this get on my nerves. You're right. Get on my nerves. And actually, we're gonna actually do another exercise that's gonna bring that kind of thinking into the conversation. Go ahead, Scott.
I was just going to say I really love this exercise because you started with the singular thing and you made us like really expand it, but I think it can also be inverted too, to take all these bigger ideas that maybe we don't really fully understand right now and make them more smaller and tangible, and so the being able to play back and forth on the ladder, I think is super awesome.
That's 100% correct. Absolutely correct. Nothing to add to that. I mean, literally, if once you can go up and down this ladder, you'll realize it starts to give you a different way of solving problems and seeing things. It's when you start to try to go up down that ladder and then assign meaning that has nothing to do with the facts of what it is. So if I was saying at the top of the ladder, it's a green apple, but I don't like green apples. And you can call it Granny Smith, but I think it's an Auntie Smith apple, right? Like as you start doing that, you go with this, like it's about, I'm not trying to, I have the ability to redefine, but first I must accept the way we're translating the world around us, right? Anybody come with a problem in the class they want to share? Anyone? I'm trying to be focused. Shakina's, first of all, I appreciate you more than you realize. I'm trying to give everybody a chance because Shakina don't be bullshit. I want y'all to pay attention to something. She getting hers. Just say real quick, fuck what you heard. All that shit, y'all. She laughing. What's up, girl? But she's serious about her shit. So I'm trying to give y'all a chance to see the way she's moving, and she ain't bullshitting you, so you can get some of her experience. I know she don't want me to share right now, but I'm just saying. Go ahead. Jordan.
One of my challenges is coming up with incentives for customers in a way that's not directly communicated to me. So I think seeing the incentives is also like kind of an abstraction from my perspective of like what is the communication that's not verbal.
Okay, why do you need to create incentives?
Because customers communicate that sometimes they don't feel taken care of. So I'm wondering if that would be a result of.
Okay, so the problem is customers don't feel like they're taken care of. Start there. What you did is you just automatically assume the abstraction. I want to take us through a process. The customers don't feel like they're being taken care of. Let's go to that. Let's go to the top again. So, next one. Okay. So, what does that mean when a customer doesn't feel like they're being taken care of? What does that mean?
I feel like I spend a lot of money and I just don't feel like you guys value me as a customer.
That means customers are displeased because they don't feel valued. Right? That's the first stage is customers don't feel valued. Anything else concrete you guys can see there? Anything else? Nothing else. Somebody can see nothing else concrete. Customers don't want to spend money. The customers are trying to become less desire to spend money with you. Right? Your company or whatever, right? That's the concrete, right? Let's go to the next one. So, why do you think, if you say that people don't feel, they start to feel like they don't want to spend company, the next one is because they don't feel valued, right? What else do they don't feel?
Encouraged to spend money.
Huh?
I just said encouraged to spend money.
Also, let's just invert it. They don't feel encouraged to spend money. So it's not only that they don't feel valued, they don't feel encouraged. Go ahead, Scott. Somebody pass Scott a microphone real quick. Okay, we got another microphone over here, and Josiah has lost weight now, so he needs to rest more. So all that working out and shit. Yeah, you having buff people problems. Go ahead.
Also, there's a second problem online if we want to jump into a second.
We get jump into the second problem.
I would say that I'm the guy running the audio, aren't I? I would say they don't feel seen. Like there's something that you're doing that they just it's not resonating with them, or you're just not picking up on something.
Mm-hmm. They don't feel seen. What else?
Maybe there's a misinterpretation of the game, like how we were talking about last week, or maybe the week before, realizing the game that you're playing. So somebody could be playing a status game.
You're going too low on the ladder right now.
Okay.
Okay, you're too low on the ladder. Anything else, just before we move forward? Okay, go next slide. So let's go higher level. Okay. That means what? They're what? Customers what? There you go, dissatisfied. What else? Concerned. What else?
Not appreciated, says Fern.
Yes. Go to the next slide. So let's get to abstractions. Why do they feel this way? What are the possibilities? Huh? Poor communication. But will poor communication make you feel? If you go up the ladder, would it make you feel not being seen?
Would make me feel undervalued. Like if I'm trying to interact or get information through the means of communication and there's a delay, you don't respond to my emails, you don't call, I have to come to you for updates.
So what I'm saying is that, okay, so what you're saying is that there is a break in communication?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So there's a break in communication that makes a person feel unvalued. What else could make a person feel undervalued? Abstractions. This is when you get higher level, hope level. Huh?
No touch points outside of like the sale or the project, because I've learned that a lot at 510.
Mm-hmm.
You have to see your customer, and there should be some touch points outside of your transaction, so it's not transactional only.
Something you're doing makes the customer feel transactional. Go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could it be like?
Why you sound like you about to start a rap song?
Right,
Yeah. I was like, you about to drop some lyrics on us?
Turn my headphones up. I told y'all.
She said it's
I don't want to come for you. I changed my mind.
Go ahead.
Could it be like your engagement with your? Could it be your engagement with your customer? Like poor customer service, the engagement isn't there. Like, could it be that?
It's not abstract. Now you get into concrete to talk about abstractions. So for example, touch points. That's kind of hard to. What is that, right? She said like something she mentioned, right? She's saying transactional. That's so abstract that sometimes that's hard to translate. That you're being transactional, right? Because if she's talking about changing incentives, improving incentives, right? Improving incentives may be just changing the experience, right? And so when you get to what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, at the beginning of that, the person doesn't feel valuable, right? Well, where the customer gets that from?
Culture.
Culture. What do you mean culture?
So there's in the people like us do things like this. So I'm sure that in them purchasing this brand that they've spent money on, they're not just buying the fabric, the piece of clothes, or the design. They're buying into the culture that people like us wear these things. And if something in translation is lost between there from fitting in or belonging or status, then any of those gaps can cause.
I would argue that that's no reason they're still there, but you solve the problem he's trying to solve. Because the culture might be, well, I'm still hanging with you, but I'm still being, it's almost like you could be with somebody that's very attractive and you really like the way this person looks. Doesn't mean you're happy with the whole experience. And you have to be able to separate that as an abstraction. Otherwise, you start to kind of flood it with just doing abstractions because it just sounds like nice. It has to be a clean pattern. These patterns have to be cleaner.
I'm playing with the idea that there's not enough signaling to the customer that they're valued throughout the process.
100%. And also, here's something also that helps you with that customer. Have you studied that customer's comparisons to your businesses? Mm-hmm. So let's say they go deal with this company over here and they buy products from this company over here. Are you also an observation of these companies over here to say, oh, this is how these companies say you're valuable and here's opportunities where we're missing? Because a lot of times removing value from a customer a lot of times it's not intentional. It's unintentional because you're one-sided in your way of seeing something. You're tunneling. Go ahead, Scott.
I would say, too, you're not creating enough fun for your customer. Like, there's not enough novelty and spontaneity in your communication. Like, maybe it's too rhythmic, it's too predictable. There's that fine balance in marketing of something that we expect, but something that surprises us. So, and I don't know if maybe that is too concrete, but there's that box.
When you're kind of running scripts,
Gamifying it?
you're running too many scripts.
Yeah, you're running too many scripts.
Too many scripts.
You want it to be human. You want
Yeah.
it to feel like
It should feel like every time I call you, I'm calling you, not calling the process. Like you could be AI.
exactly. Yeah.
So humanizing contact moments, right? Like for example, I remember your name, remember your experiences. Hey, Mike, how's your son doing in that? What's going on with that? Hey, did you ever get that car you was talking about? You know what I mean? And like which one did you get? Because I saw that personalization of that. I'm not just running a script. I know you. I remember you. I value you, as opposed to.
I wanted the BMW, but I got a family.
There you go. Go ahead.
I mean, isn't that court why you have Hennessy and sometimes stuff like Patron at the office? Because it's not like you like to drink it, but when clients come in and they can have a drink, it makes them feel special, and it also breaks the ice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's some, and this abstract analysis is that this is part of their way of. This is their celebratory way of bonding. Is they use this particular drink called Hennessy. So this particular industry he's serving, and so while he's trying to bond with the customer to make it personal, he's paying attention to these personal interactions, right? What are some other ways of driving this personal abstraction? Now keep it tied to our ladder that we just built. You can't go, and by the way, if you were to buy them red roses, we didn't, okay, we're going, whoa. Let's get back into the lane. Stay on the ladder. We're not all over. We're not. This is not the field of abstract thinking. It's the ladder, which means we're trying to keep you on a structure.
You could be intentional with your touch points. So, for example, customer anniversaries, or when they hit a certain quota, or watching what's trending in the market and tying it to what their interests are. So being like, hey, customer, we appreciate you for your 10th order. And by the way, these are the latest trends in here. Just like tying
how could that
it
go
back to
right and how could that go
personalization.
wrong?
I think it can go right because it's showing them that you're listening and that you're paying attention. I think it can go wrong because scaled out, it could take up a lot of energy.
No. You're thinking about you. You're not thinking about them. See, he didn't say, how can I do better at showing it to my customer? He says, how can I get the customers to see? So that means that your thinking has to stay from their angle of abstractions, not you and what it does to you. So it doesn't mean that you can't include that. For example, have you guys received thank you on your birthday from these generic ass companies? And they say they run these same scripts, like Actively Black does that. They run these same scripts. When I first got, I was like, ooh. But then you realize, everybody gets this. It's just, when you buy your 5th item, you won't get this response. Get 6 items, you get this response. 7 items, and from the owner, I said this, because you're running a computer script. So once you put it to the database, the customers can assist that, right? But when you want to keep something when you want to keep that customer valued experiences, it has to have a degree of randomness plugged into it. That says it is, because when you call someone on the phone, you don't run scripts. You randomly how you feel that day, but because you appreciate that person, it's the way you talk to that person. It can also be signaled to his speed. Speed. How fast do you talk? How much time you take with a person? How much are you looking at? Are you talking to me as if you got 10 more contracts to go? Or are you talking to me like, glad to see you? So time management changes transactional experiences. Like these are layers to stay in an area of what could affect their perception of value, right? It could be a situation where, listen, you have any problems with this? Call me directly. You know how I stand with you. And slowing it down. But hey, if you have any problems with it, just call me directly. And I stay where we stand with you. See the difference? So it's like, how are you framing the customer in his mind? Because if you give him a whole bunch of recipes and he doesn't frame the customer correctly, he will fuck up every recipe we provide for him. He has to first start off with, do you really like your customers? Do you realize that, okay, for example, when a person walks to my door, I see them as blessing me to stay alive. So when you walk to my door, I feel like, oh my God, you value me like that? Oh, I gotta give you some reciprocity. But if they walked in my door and I said to myself, yeah, we doing big things, and I got clients to do. I got this. I got the ones. When I get too high, you get too low. You understand me? Hey, you understand me, girl? Look here. If I get too high, girl, you get too low. You understand me? Anyway, point back to my point. Let's stay focused because them old days ain't coming back. I'm married now. You remember? So anyway, but the thing is that, so I'm like getting into the customer, a lot of times that translates into like, how is he framing his days? Now, is he selling or is he building relationships? Because see, selling is easy. Next. Relationships is, what's up, man? How you been? What you want? Oh, you getting this again? Hey, how'd y'all do last year? Is he researching customers so he could talk to customers? If he knows somebody's calling him, hey, can I call you 5 minutes? Hey, man, I just saw y'all wonder what's the name. You see this relationship element? But sales, I'm not researching nothing. I'm just moving items. Go ahead, Scott.
I won't share any details, but we had some VIPs at the office today that were going to be in town that are some really wonderful clients of ours. And we built a whole experience for them just to come in, spend time. I'll tell you afterwards. But yeah, like just come in, spend time. We know you're going to be in town. Let us just host you for a half hour. Let us just, let's make it for you. We put stuff on the screens for them and all that. Just like, hey, we know you only got half hour you can spend with us. We want to give you the best experience we can while we can.
All these, there's so many, what I'm trying to go with is when you get to the abstraction, you see how this list just solutions is just all over the place, all the possibilities. Now, Jordan, do you feel like we increased your perception of the situation? We just went up and down a ladder. All of our problems, I'm talking about from, you have a problem with your girlfriend, your boyfriends, go through the ladder of abstraction. And you realize, oh shit, this is a whole way of looking at the problem. Because a lot of times, okay, when you upset with somebody, upset with a customer, upset with your business, upset with your money, upset with anything, you often are just stuck in a concrete space. You're almost tunneling. You can't go up and down that ladder. But once you're able to just go up and down the ladder, you start seeing, oh, I can tweak this. I can change this. I can move this. I'm sure that happened for you during the process, right? But if we didn't have that ladder to go up and down and you just stuck on one portion of the ladder, which is, man, customers ain't happy. I got to come up with some incentives. He flatlined the conversation. There was nothing there. That's like, think about this. Like if I just say, hey, I need some more incentives because my customer's not happy with me. Did I give you anything? So you see how I said, let's break that down to a ladder. Let's go from the beginning. What is the problem we're trying to solve?
That was dope.
Thanks, family. So this is the process. Like when you're out and about and you start seeing things, and go through the ladder of abstracts, and you start to realize abstractions, and you start saying, oh shit, I feel like I can solve all. You start feeling like a strategic genius, and it's not that because a lot of those things are hypotheses he has to test and then curate and engage and test and listen and curate, and eventually he'll build a pattern of abstractions that makes his experience go to another level. Meaning that he improves his profits by 30, 40, 20, from 10 to 40% overnight because he just keeps tweaking these abstractions, as opposed to I sent him some new shit. We changed our website. If you don't stop using all these concrete, we put a new logo. I put a white man in answer phone instead of a black man because I figured they were racist. Son, please stop. Just please stop. See the abstractions. You guys get it? Okay, let me see how much time I got so we can keep going. Okay, we keep going. Keep going. Next slide. Go through these. Okay. Huh? Go ahead.
I mean, we probably don't have enough time, but I feel like I kind of get it, but the abstractions are still abstract to me.
Okay, let's do this. What's the next problem online? Let's take one online.
Okay.
Let's have fun, y'all.
Fern said that they may have lost a sponsor for their festival.
Oh, they may have lost a sponsor for their festival. I think I need Fern here to kind of get into this one. What does that mean? Because you see, what you're doing is you're stating the symptom, not the problem. Like, like we lost, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? We're losing more money, right? What does that mean? We won't be able to, what does that mean? Because if you're not clear on what that means and you're just worrying about this person, but you still have, okay, you ever see somebody focus on this over here and they don't see all the options over here, right? Because their ladder's off. They took a symptom, made it. The problem is we lost a sponsor, right? What does that mean? What does that mean is that because we lost a sponsor, we don't have this, or we don't have the opportunity for that. Okay, then what does that mean? Like, as you continue to go down that ladder, you'll get into like, okay, so as we're trying to solve, like, this means this means that, this means this means that. Okay, so where do we have room to wiggle in that space? Well, we actually can do that without the sponsor. Oh, shit. Okay, what would that mean? Well, we have to shrink the time. Well, if you shrink the time, what does that mean? Well, that means that would change these. You see how we start to move the things around and realize we're still strong without that customer, which allows us then. And then if we lose that customer, does it mean that we still have that event and would give us the opportunity to gain a new customer? Or was that customer even for us? Or does that customer even align with your values? Does a customer even, as you go up and down that ladder, you'll realize, oh, I got hella choices. But if you don't go up and down that ladder, you get stuck into I feel like we fucked up. I lost a customer, and I'm really pissed off. And I don't know how to get another customer back. I want another customer. I want another sponsor. I don't know what that means. I don't. If you brought me in, I'm going to ask all these questions to take you up and down some ladders to get us to a point where you got play here, you got play there, you got play here. If you tweak these areas here, this is where change starts to happen. But if you just start saying, nah, man, we lost a customer. Well, why? Well, we did this. Okay, but what does that mean to the customer? Because that might be a lesson on protecting your future relationships, right? But if you're not getting into the abstractions, you're just getting into like shame, anger, frustration, if one of your team members did it, fear, right? So even me saying that is an abstraction understanding. These all are creating tunnels which stopping you from thinking. I can't even get you to think until you recognize that these are things that's causing you to think. So maybe go run for about an hour. Let's come back and have this conversation. And that run along will subside those emotions. So now we can get into the abstractions and move things around. You see where I'm going with this? But if you don't see those abstractions, this week I was very upset about something. And you know when I was very upset about something, you know what I didn't do? I didn't spend no money. I purposely went hardcore budget. You know why? Because I knew I was too emotional to spend money. I know that I will over purchase because my fear is saying, well, you should probably buy this too. You should buy that. Shit, who cares what it costs? And I tell myself, nah, just until you calm down, don't spend a penny. Because I know in that space, there was $1,000 going to be lost. Guaranteed $1,000 was going to be lost. Guaranteed 1,000. Guaranteed at minimum 1,000. It could have been 7,000. It could have been 40,000, but it was like, don't, because I understood that. So I had to go through a process because I realized that I don't give a shit how strong my brain is. In this situation here, I'm not the strongest. So let me get through this process emotionally, get myself to a space, and then once I can feel that ground underneath my feet, let's start dissecting and doing some comparisons and going through my ladder of abstractions. And as I go through my ladder of abstractions, things start to make sense. Go ahead.
So she added some context.
Okay.
She said, we possibly lost $20K, which could have helped with the venue costs. The customer is having a rough year and may not be able to commit to their agreed to sponsorship.
Okay, let's play with that for a second. Go back to the slides, Josh. Go to the top. So she lost a customer. Next slide. She lost a customer. And I think in this space alone in generalization, there's weaknesses. You say, what do you mean? Did you build your business for tolerance of just customers, for randomness of shit just happens? Like you can't build a business on expectations that everybody's here next year's will be here the following year. So did your business already take that in consideration? Or did it build it with a rigidity? So all your strategies, everything you've been building has been built on that. If Court Smith was sponsoring me this year, he should sponsor me next year. Or does your system says, Court sponsored me this year, but it's a chance I'm gonna lose 30% of those sponsorships by next year. Just because. That means you're not allowing the economy to do its thing. What you're saying is what I feel should be. You guys get that part? Okay, next slide. So let's get into pure abstractions. Did she have control over that customer? No. Did the customer leave her because she didn't like her? Did the customer leave her because they ran out of money? Or did the customer leave her because they found somebody better?
Natural hardships.
Huh?
It's a natural hardships.
You actually don't know. Abstraction. You don't know.
It's just what she said.
That's what she says and what she believes. So that means that she has also deeper investigations as required. Because customers say, we ran out of money, but you will find out that, oh, actually they are supporting this over there. The customer could have moved towards, I reject DEI, and I was really only supporting you for DEI. You get go to like, you don't know what it is. That's a room for you to move in that space, right? What could you have been doing different to solidify that relationship? Meaning, did you hold any incentives over that customer? Did you have any leverage on that customer? Meaning that as they supported you, are you getting sponsorships that are donating to you, or you have leverage? Big difference. Big freaking difference. Meaning you called me because you look cute that day, but next year I met somebody new. She cuter. That's just it. But if you have leverage, meaning that if you donate to me, this impacts you this way. Different conversation. So that means that are you going after people that you have no leverage with? Or are you looking for people with kind hearts? If your business is built on the model of people with kind hearts, that's a dangerous ass model. You see where I'm playing this space right here? This is the abstraction area of like, what are we doing here, people? Like, is your business model strong enough to carry the business, or does your business model need more work so it can carry the business? How's your partnerships? So, for example, if you got a lot of people attracted to your business, aren't you well leveraged? Aren't you well positioned to create smart partnerships? And if you don't have that ability, then what do you need to do to change your model to have smart partnerships? Anybody else want to add to that? Abstract areas. Just only on this guy. You can't go off to like, well, maybe Fern should have wore a hoodie. We're going too far now. Stay right here. Stay right here. So right now, if you go back to the letter of instructions, go back and just go two slides. So right now, she lost a particular client. Go to the next one. General assumption is that the client just ran out of money. And she expected the client not to run out of money. So she kind of built her model around, they should probably be able to show up. So I kind of was counting on that money. See the problem there? Generalization. Go next one. Higher level problem is, we missed higher level. Higher level is, it would actually be leverage, which is, with that customer and they was giving you money, what was your leverage point? Why did they give you money? Do you own that? And then as we get into the abstractions is, do you even know why they really left? Do you have any leverage over why they really left? What's their incentive for staying with you? What does that incentive look like? Can you define that? Are you using your leverage of your business as a partnership? Does your business model generate enough resources where those leverage partnerships only allow you to add decorations, but it's not at the core of your business? Or is the core of your business based upon donations? I don't know none of this stuff.
I would ask too, we kind of talked about her exploring adjacent people that would be sponsors in one arena, but what are other arenas that you could go to that aren't even in the space of that sponsor? Like, have you looked at the spectrum of possible arenas, not even partners, but
yes, well said.
Yeah, or cultures, whatever, all the different higher spaces.
Exactly. So she built a beautiful product in the Black community that still can be owned by the Black community, but has she looked at other spaces with other cultures that may find value in her services, right? We're going into like expanding beyond the basics of you do what kind of, like, for example, what services do you actually provide for human beings? Mm-hmm. Are you absolutely clear? This is a service, not I exposed in the wine. What is the emotional value that a human being has on your space? Is that valuable or is that leverage for your relationship to another client? Go ahead, Sadi.
And then also, like, how much slack do you have between the time of the event and like when the sponsor signs on to sponsor that event? Like, do you have enough? Do you give yourself like enough slack to have a replacement?
Yes, you have no time. So slack is another issue. Other issues too. How strong is your reciprocity of acknowledging that investor and supporter? Meaning that are you running a big ecosystem that incentivizes that person to stay with you because your drive behind your partnership is strong? Have you created a certain budget where you ran ads just celebrating your relationship to this person? Or did you get the money and go to work and just focus on the concrete and not think about all the incentives, all the emotional, all the abstract, the value the person could be seeking from that relationship? Abstractions.
It wasn't like she just was. Yeah.
I don't know if this is thinking about it in the right way. I might be wrong. But could you also think about, like, okay, if you have a relationship with this said sponsor and they value the relationship that you guys have, is there a way for them to still be a part of the event outside of that monetary donation? Like,
well said.
say co-branded ads or something.
Well
where
said.
They're able to help you push ticket sales or what have you, while not like directly donating money.
Exactly. So, yeah, could we translate their value outside of monetary? Right? Here's another one. Have you studied the culture of businesses who have a relationship of money being raised and how they invest in those relationships to continue to incentivize the growth of those relationships? Or are you working it from a first experience level of this is what I've been experiencing, so this is what I've done, as opposed to I study organizations who receive money like this, and the ones who are winning in these categories, here are some of the techniques and the why these techniques work. Because remember, observation knowledge is the weakest knowledge, right? So one of the reasons observation is weak is because we don't own the abstractions of what we observe. So if you can seek out the abstractions of why they do certain things and how this translates in the outcomes, all of a sudden now your actions are measurable and you're actually using recipes to protect those relationships and grow those relationships, right? Also, when you had those relationships, how well did you build a relationship with the company that you have for them to go out and reach and extend your relationship to them, to the relationships they have with others? You see how these abstract areas of movement that the brain won't even know that these are things that I should be working on, as opposed to I finish the event, I clean it up, I get ready for the next event, and I underserve these relationships. And then when they fall off, we don't know that we underserved them because we didn't understand the game we were playing. We didn't understand the culture, abstraction, right? We didn't understand the rules, abstraction. We didn't understand the laws, abstractions. Ain't that cold? And you got to ask, that's like you saying, I went to somebody's house and they were just tripping, so I left. You might came in the house and didn't take your shoes off. You may have came in the house and said hi to the kid before you spoke to the elder, and everybody comes in the house and speaks to the elder first. There's all these little subtle things that are abstractions that if you don't know what they are, and even though you had the best intent and you was working really, really hard, you underserved the opportunity. Is this shit cool? Like, start playing, going up and down the ladder on stuff. Even when you look at something like, for example, you look at a chair. Do the ladder of abstractions. What is a chair? What kind of chair is that? And this is how you get to things like different seating options or rest options for human beings, because somebody went past. What most people will do is look at a chair and just create another color. Or they create a taller back, or they create a softer cushion, or they make their own rest extend. Where somebody comes along and creates a beanbag. Same thing. Somebody comes along and says, I'm going to do a hammock. Somebody comes along and says, I'm going to create a flotational device. Like, all this stuff is the same idea, recognizing that human beings like to rest. What are different ways we can engage their desire to rest? Or do you focus on, I build chairs? No, you build spaces for people to rest. Big difference. That gives you so many more options than a chair. You guys can see where I'm going with this? How abstractions is such a powerful fucking tool once you engage it, because you realize, oh, that's where creativity lives. Yes, that's where creativity lives, within the abstractions.
I just bought a new mattress or like a whole new bed ecosystem. And one of the things that I like about the company is they did that very on purpose. So it's like a adjustable, inclining massage bed. It does like all the things. But in my head, I'm just like, I'm getting older. My body hurts. I sleep more. I want to be comfortable, right? And so I've clicked on this bed and almost bought it like 5 times in like the last 2 years. And every time it was like, nah, we're not about to do that. We're not about to do that. And finally I threw my back out and I was like, man, that new bed is looking real good. And somehow they must have heard me because my phone pinged and I got an ad from this company.
Hey, that's an old people late at night. This towel right here, this towel will wash your car like no other towel.
And they had the most targeted, poignant ad.
Yeah, you get older.
Look, yeah, I need a whole Becky out of me, y'all. But what I loved about it from the marketing standpoint is I was like, this is genius, because they didn't just make it something for me to sleep on. They were like literally inviting you to partner with them in the way that you do life and how that revolves around a bed. So they're like upselling the features of like your bed is where you spend half of your life. And it's not just what you sleep on. It's what you do when you read. It's what you do when you like it integrated it and the importance of it. And in that moment, I was like, boy, I'm sold. Like, and they had photos and videos and testimonies and all this stuff. And I was like, I know y'all playing me, but y'all finally got me. All right, I bought the damn bed. But it wasn't more so for the bed. It was because I felt seen as the customer, that they thought about all these different touch points in my life about what a bed meant to me.
In a world of competition, if you're not talking about the abstractions, you're missing opportunities to because stop thinking you special. I don't know a motherfucker I ever met that didn't die. They're not gonna die. Every motherfucker I ever seen, you gonna die. You ain't that special. So if you play this competition game, you gotta realize you gotta do something different. And different is not more paint. Different ain't rims. Different may be these abstract things that says to another human being, yeah, that's somebody finally see what I've been talking about this whole time. Where we most often miss it is because we're too busy trying to tell a story as opposed to create a story for our customer. Let me say this again. Too often you're trying to tell a story as opposed to create a story. And in order for me to create a story for you, guess what I got to do? I got to figure out what you care about. I got to be able to hear the abstractions as you talk. And if I can't hear those abstractions as you talk, and I'm too busy going, yeah, I like that too. You know, he said he liked red, so I'm going to do red too. God damn, why do I like red though? What about red? What stories do I have around red? What association? Oh, that time was with my mother. Oh, so tell me more about your mother. See these abstractions unfolding? And all of a sudden, you realize if you just hit these key points, you plug directly into what I was saying. But if you show up and you're like, well, you know, I think he's going to like this. I think that this is going to be so cool for him or her. You're not reading the instructions. Go ahead, Josh.
What about reverse engineering this? Because like abstraction is really, really easy for me. It's the concrete thing that I find difficult. And well, what was that, Court?
No, go ahead.
And it's like I'll conceptualize something and I'll shoot it, execute it, and it doesn't connect with people because I can be so deep in my head and how I see the world. It's very difficult.
They're daydreaming. You're not good at abstractions.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah, daydreaming. You're confused. You did exactly what we said it's not. Yeah. And you're daydreaming, which is you're personalizing your story that you're developing in your head. Abstractions is you're studying this story that's being played out in front of you. Yeah. So you can read the room so well. You can time the moves so well. So I absolutely love you, and I absolutely know that you're down for black people like most people would never know, right? And you're somebody that thinks about a lot of stuff that's very, very insightful. The problem is that you often get pissed. You piss a lot of people off because you can't see the abstractions. You get caught up in your own story, your head. And that's why it's so easy to think that the daydreaming, the deep thinking, the big picture analysis, which you're also highlighting how you can see the big picture, you can't see that clear-cut pattern. There's a pattern that has to be very precise. It's very rigorous to get that pattern to come out. Where you start saying, okay, this begot this, this begot this, begot this, this begot this, and it causes that, right? As opposed to, I can see these invisible things kind of moving, which is true. You can see invisible things that's moving, and I see that. That's something that you do have. But it's the rigorous pattern alignment that you're missing. That rigorous, because even sometimes I'll hear you give patterns, and it do this. It goes straight. It goes like this. Anybody talk to you, it go like this and goes like that, right? It's because it's almost like you're the grounding of, you need more grounding, just more grounding, right? And I even heard that, if you be honest with you, if you go back to a conversation, you admitted that you're working on more grounding, and the way the more grounding came out, you say, because when I got this job, that job, this job, and this job, even here, compared to the way you first came in, you were like, Josh. Now I heard you today, I was like, yo, that's impressive, Josh. More grounding, more pattern, more recognizing this causes this causes that, this causes this, right? So I'm watching you grounded and develop abstractions, but you're more a daydreamer than you have abstractions. But you are developing abstractions because you're getting more experiences. Even this big contract that most people will be surprised that you're working on in San Francisco, that's a hella dope. That's going to force a lot more grounding, because if you get caught in your head on that storytelling, you'll lose all those relationships. And I think that you care enough, and it's such a big opportunity. I'm not going to share online, but the big opportunity that you're working on, that gaining access to abstractions will allow you to see how your innocence and your desire to want to cheat. It's like you like that person who walks in somebody's house with the innocent intent, with no bad intent, but you end up pissing people off. You don't see how you did it because you didn't read the abstractions. Like when Court said, read the room, he was saying, read the abstractions. That's what read the room is. You walk in the room, you go, was it? You ever hear the stories about when Indians fought the Americans? First of all, our stories of the Indians is totally screwed up. It's almost like movies created version of Indian. Indians was just as strong as the European. The only reason we get to tell one story and the Indian doesn't tell another story because the European won. But the European could have easily lost that war, but what allowed the European to win the war was, one, the diseases that his body had built immunity to from Europe. They didn't have any. It wasn't the blanket. It was not the blanket. The blanket was only a small part of the. Indian had a big. Indigenous people had a big nation. What caused indigenous people to lose the war was just their interaction with Europeans. They didn't have the diseases that we were able to, like the Europeans, not us. The Europeans was fighting off, because they know us. The Europeans was fighting off. Indigenous people didn't have, so a lot of them were killed by diseases from just simple interaction. The second thing was the indigenous people built guns at a high ass rate. But the funny part was when they would come together and negotiate, Indians don't have the same concepts of war. So they don't wear uniforms. They don't believe in like all the surrender and agreements. So every treaty they ever wrote, everybody broke them. Because it's like, what does this shit mean? If you waved your flag at the middle of a war, you're getting shot. like it was just different rules, because these are different groups, had different values and different beliefs. And when they came together, one group's like complaining about they're not following our beliefs, and the group's like, and the Indians like, these fools think we following their. I don't know if they're not following our beliefs, because it was two people. That's why people don't realize, like when you go to other countries. My partner told me, he said, man, you go to Jerusalem. He said he went to Jerusalem, and he said to somebody, man, that's racist. The dude said, this ain't America. We don't give a shit about that goddamn comment. That mean nothing to us. Once you understand, as you move around the world, the diversity of different beliefs and cultures and movements, but even in the United States, if you walk into a white house, a black house, a southern house, a coastal house, a liberal house, a democratic house, a straight house, a gay house, East Oakland house versus West Oakland house, there's just different rules, different cultural beliefs. Go ahead.
I was working on some at the office today, and I was writing this thing, and I was like, the culture is the infrastructure we choose for the future, and the stories we choose to tell is the architecture of that infrastructure. Like the culture sets everything of where things are going.
And a lot of us don't know how to read culture.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Josiah.
It reminds me of this book I'm reading called Left of Bang, and it's basically like how to build better like situational awareness. So like it's a, huh? Yeah, what? Yeah. Oh, that's the show. Okay. But basically, left of bang is a term like I think that's used in the military, where it's like all the stuff before whatever the situation happens, whether you're getting shot at or whatever, an emergency situation. And so they were using an example of a cop like responding to a robbery call at a store. And he kind of just like ran in, assessed the situation, and they said the suspect was like armed or whatever. So he thought it was like a kidnapping situation, ran in, he ended up getting shot. and the author was basically breaking down that he was missing like all the abstract things to notice before going in, because he called backup was taking too long, and so he was thinking more of like, oh, okay, I gotta save like this person, the owner or whatever, before something go bad. But then he missed all the abstractions on his way, like going through the store to get to the back. So he's assuming that the person in the back is the owner when it was actually the suspect, and the suspect shot him. Luckily he lived, but it was still like, even in just regular like real life, like there's all these abstractions that we miss out on.
Okay, I'm gonna say something that's gonna be very controversial. Those people online, just know I deeply love black folks, but I'm gonna show you a cold-blooded abstraction. This is fun, y'all. This is cold. So, 1980s. When you wanted to read about the news, guess what most people read? Local news. In local news, you learn about the local sport teams, sewage problem, maybe local council member, local mayor issues, neighborhood stuff. Pete Dog keep pissing on what's his name's lawn, and Michael was just so tired of Pete Dog pissing on his lawn. This is really what it is in the newspaper, right? You may learn what local grocery stores are opening up. You will learn about this guy who gave tennis shoes to all these kids in the hood. This is what you learn. Okay. Now, there was national magazines. You know what dominates national magazines?
Ads.
Crime, politics. So if you read national magazines, you would know anything about locally happened, but you would hear about all the crime happening even in your city, all the crime all over. Because you know why national can do that? Because in a nation of 350 million, there's always some crime. And they know that if I want to keep you buying this newspaper, crime stimulates you. Now, you know what global news will have you paying attention to? Terrorism, planes crashing. The world's coming to an end because it's always happening in the world, has always been. Now, mind you, guess what happened in early 2000s that changed every fucking thing? There's two things that happened. We got rid of local news, and a lot of national news went away. So we watch a hybrid of global national news most of the time. That's why all the 24-hour news. So I mean, local news went away. So all of a sudden, you would have never heard about police brutality anywhere else besides Oakland. So to you, it would have been like, oh, that's manageable. But all of a sudden, you start hearing about police brutality
In Tennessee.
everywhere. One in every state. Seem like we don't have these cops going everywhere. It's crazy. You see how the abstract perception is being twisted? Let me add another question, layer to that. Do you realize, let me show you another abstraction. Did you realize that in the 80s, if you were middle class, you only hung out with middle class people. You was poor, you only saw poor people. When you was rich, you only hung out with rich people, right? Guess what happened when social media came along? All of a sudden, you start talking to rich and poor people. And guess what happened to that poor person who wasn't rich? They felt envy. So guess what happened to that rich person? Also credit behavior. Their credit cards ran up because now they start spending money to look like the rich people that they're not. And they're no longer satisfied with the middle class lifestyle because now they're able to look at people they never had access and never seen before in their life. So now the best way to fuck up, if you make $150,000 a year, the best way to feel broke is live next to a millionaire.
I was just talking about how payment, like hanging out everything.
Give him a microphone.
I was just telling somebody that like how we're like in this new era of like payment plans for everything, like Klarna, Afterpay, where you can literally have payments on a DoorDash order or like it's crazy. But like especially like luxury items and stuff, you can make monthly payments on and still get the item. So now people feel like they're rich even when they don't even own half the stuff.
100%.
They're still making,
and they're underinvesting in opportunities and overinvesting in status, right? Now, once you see this, you understand a lot of patterns around you. Now, mind you, whether you want to exploit them or not, that's a business choice. What I'm arguing is that this is an abstraction that you can't see if you don't understand abstraction. All you see is, man, everybody buying Gucci, I got to give me one. As opposed to, why do everybody want to buy Gucci? Was everybody buying Gucci's 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years? How's these numbers exploded? Now, if you're investing, you know where your money need to go because you automatically know, oh, now that the poor can talk to the rich, this is where Warren Buffett and them, this is how they move. They see the abstractions, and the abstraction says, oh, this company would be ideal to invest in because this connection is causing poor people to run their credit up just to look like the rich people, and not realizing that because they're running their credit up and they're creating this poverty, then the companies that are going to benefit the most from this is buy. Guys, see these abstractions? You see how abstractions help you make decisions when you run a business. Like, which way should I go with my business? You don't move your business like saying, any, many, money, that way. Because that's how you guys think that navigating the companies, you're reading the tea leaves of extraction and going, hey, these trends are moving us this way. Go ahead.
Some of the most valuable AI stocks right now aren't NVIDIA. It's not the chips or any of that stuff, or like Google or all that. It's the people that are building the power resources, the cooling units, the solar fields, and all that. That spot is hot right now. So many stocks are going up in businesses in that area.
Matter of fact, I'll tell you what, this is fun. With AI, ChatGPT, Google, and who's another one? Claude. So who wins?
All of them.
Are you looking at the abstractions? Because you look at the abstractions, it's a different conversation than if you look at just the concretes. Concrete's like, well, they got this most money, they doing this together. Concrete, you look at some of the most superficial stuff. Abstraction, you can get into like, how are they managing their teams? What kind of people work there? What is their relationship to innovation? What is the culture around innovation? How have they designed the structure? Does the structure enhance innovation, or does the structure choke innovation? You see where I'm going with this? That's abstraction analysis versus, man, they got the coolest website. I'm going to invest in them. Oh God, put me to sleep. Please put me to sleep. Go ahead.
Is this abstraction or concrete? Some of these AI-based search platforms are getting worse, in my opinion, now that different laws and restrictions are coming about what they can access, and is predicting or looking at the patterns of what companies like Lime Bikes and Uber had to deal and Airbnb had to deal with when they were disrupting the economy versus after, when things bent in their favor, kind of trying to predict that with what searches can do?
There's a lot of concrete noise in what you just said. The abstraction would be like, okay, by default, based on abstraction, no one gets a clear path. I don't care what the fuck you're building, you don't get a clear path. I don't care how good your product is, you don't get a clear path. But if it grows too fast, that creates more friction and more resistance, right? That's, you see that all the time, right? So it's really about the abstraction is how they're thinking about that and what systems are they building in place to navigate that. And I need to know more about that than information about, I don't like the way this feels. It feels more choked. It feels like that means nothing to me. That means that's just a stage. Like, if you look at a lot of technology, when it first starts, it's always overmanaged. So should that even be that could be noise, right? Like abstraction is knowing like what are natural things or how those systems work when certain things come into existence. Is this worth analysis or is this noise? I don't even know how to make that separation if I don't see abstract thoughts. And mind you, we don't get further and further into abstractions. You can start to see, I'm trying to ground it so much where you start seeing it actually at many decision-making points and planning points in your career or in business, that abstraction is it's not daydreaming. It's not higher level thinking. It's not, I can see the systems. It's like, can you see the patterns of outcome? Big difference. Let's hit a few slides on game theory. I want y'all to just leave y'all with just a little bit more brain scrambling before you go home. All right, hit this one real quick.
Conceptual framing. Why knowing the game matters.
So this is back to game. Now we're going to jump back to game theory. Everybody, pull the switch, close game. I'm about to mix game theory and abstractions together. Ain't that some shit? I'm mixing them up because I want you to show you why abstraction, ownership, and game theory can't be done without the other. Keep going. Now let's go.
Hidden rule books. Every business environment has an underlying rule book.
Okay, by the way, y'all see this court part? I just want y'all to catch this court section, this first paragraph. Go ahead.
Some are written, regulations and contracts, but most are unwritten. Culture, norms, status, games, timing, games, networking games.
So go back and read that again. So these are unwritten rules. So most rules in a business are unwritten. Has anyone ever articulated that most rules of business are not even written down? Let's be very clear about that. So when you engage a business, go ahead to Fern, if you're still there. When you engage a company, when you're working with these different companies, do you realize most of the rules are not written down? How many people say I knew that before this started? So think about this. You're engaged in companies, businesses, and everything. And if you don't know the rules are not written down, are you even asking the right questions? Huh? Are you tuning your observations because you realize the rules are not written down? Right? Because once you think if you assume your rules are their rules, this is game theory, then you automatically go in there thinking, oh, we're playing fair. And if I say tomato, you're gonna say tomato. If I say tomato, you're gonna say tomato. But I say tomato and you're thinking bell peppers. You're literally thinking bell peppers. And so I'm in there having a tomato conversation and your brain going, nah, it has nothing to do with my bell peppers.
This reminded me of Jordan's question when he was talking about the customers and the abstraction, and knowing the game and the culture matters so much in that regard. Because say if you think you are being nice to that person, but it doesn't translate because his cultural rules are different, then he thinks you being rude. So it's like if when Walnut Creek sends us a check for $10,000, they don't expect nothing back. They don't want no extra coddling because they do it all the time. But say if a black coach sends us $2,000, he's gonna be like, I need a hookup, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, because I spent a lot of money with y'all. So where's all my extra shit?
Mm-hmm.
So and that's knowing the culture.
And once again, these are all unwritten rules. Anytime this is not only business, this is the interaction with any human being. Most of the rules that human beings hold are unwritten. If you want to, okay, simple dating, one person meets another person. Are you looking for the unwritten rules, or are you looking for a match for you? Think about that. You didn't say, so how would you show up to this? You're like, well, this is what I would expect. Will you align with me? You don't know. If you start sensing and smelling the unwritten rules, you can hear it you'll start seeing the patterns, and you'll hear when they say this, they're stating this rule. When they say that, they're stating this rule. But if you don't know how to listen for it, because you don't know that most companies and most interactions have more unwritten rules than written rules. I need to slow that down so you can really process that shit.
Because you can't write all the rules.
It's no such thing.
You can't.
And those rules change with leadership. Yeah. I mean, if another leader comes in tomorrow and a group of people, group of key roles change, the rules just change. So just because you learn the rules of a company that you started with 3 years ago, those rules have been reinvented because of turnover. And you'll go into that business with the same expectations of rules and actually destroy the relationship because you don't realize rules are in constant motion.
I mean, you know the rules of the game.
You understand me? So
real quick, I would argue a lot of relationships, especially I think on the men's side, fail because they don't understand the rules of the game. They don't understand that like the implicit and explicit parts of the game and relationships.
We're going to get into this. That's going to show up in a second. Keep going.
Keep reading.
Same. So finish. So timing games. So cultural norms, right? Status games. Like who's the person that you need to be paying attention to in this relationship? If you're dealing with another business, like you ain't dealing with a business, you're dealing with Shekinah of Pinpoint. And if you're not clear about that, and you put all your energy into whoever the reception person is, you fucking up because you don't understand Shekinah of Pinpoint. You get what I'm going like, and every company has, based upon that department, who's that person? Are you sniffing out who's the person you need to pay attention to, right?
Yeah.
Then you got timing games. What if this person's been burned? What if this person feels like, although we said on Wednesday, I do better with companies who show up on Monday. What if like you don't know the timing of how they perceive time in that company and how they perceive time on this project, how they expect a certain amount of communication under a certain amount of time? How many check-ins you should have, how many engagements, how that engagement should look. If you don't know that, you are protecting your rules on their rules, thinking that your rules are universal. This is diversity at its finest, right? Then you get into Network games. Oh, so I'm talking to Shakina. I'd be like, yeah, so the other day, I don't really deal, like, I'm better than that company. Don't realize that company is the best friend of this company. Or you talk about that person over here, or you mention something about this, or you make a joke over here, and not realize this is all tied into a network. You don't see how this affects this affects this affects this affects this. Or you make a decision way over here, thinking, oh, that's a harmless decision, and destroy something over there. Network effects. Next, keep going.
Many entrepreneurs fail because they assume they are playing one game. Example, product quality. When the real game might be about distribution power or social proof.
Social proof meaning that I got people I'm really driving people's excitement about what's about to happen. I'm not really driving, like, my product is pretty much meh. It's pretty much standard. But what the game I'm really playing is, by you buying my product, you joining a culture. And that culture, I'm putting more money investing in bringing that culture to life than I am to even actually product development. Because product development, you can build it. Like, for example, have you ever seen a situation where people bought inferior technology because it was more popular than the more superior technology? Because it signaled to the people that I'm part of this culture. I was in line with something that was happening in society. And you see companies who pay into that. They invest in that. Apple's done a wonderful job of that. Keep going. Next one.
Multiple games at once. In markets, there's rarely just one game happening.
So this is where it gets fun. When you're in business, never focus on one game. It's a whole bunch of games. And matter of fact, somebody like Court, the reason Court, if you ever heard Court, if you ever just sit with Court one day and talk about business, his business, he's sharing game theory with you all over the place. Yeah, when I deal with this, I do this. But when I do this, I do this. But this person comes in contact with this person, I twist that and do that. Right? And one of the signs he can start to see if his game is working for right now, doesn't mean it's going to work tomorrow, is he can see it in profit margins. When he gets that game theory wrong, he going to see it in profit margins. So there's a need to always test and improve and tweak the game, because the game never stays the same, because those who are playing the game are always changing. So not only are they always changing, different people are playing different games. So if you want a single script on all your customers, you just say, fuck your games to like a certain portion of your customers. So for example, when Jordan says customers are calling me, I would have to, then here's the next question for game theory. Well, how many of those customers called you? How many customers do you interact with? Oh, 10 customers called you. Oh, okay. Now, what about the other customers? Have you pulled those other customers? Other customers love me. Oh, okay. Those might be customers on the fringes, and you got to design a different game interaction for them that's different than these customers, right? So you got to know that as you're serving customers, there's different games required. An elderly client may have a different game than one that's just 10 years younger. One is rich, may have different group of poor. One is political versus this political. All these are different games of different outcomes they're expecting. And when you're focusing on marketing, you got to be very clear of dissecting what game is my customer, what game is my vendor, what game is my employees, what game is my partnership, what game is my competition playing. Otherwise, you don't know the games they're playing. You just in there thinking that what you're doing is you're playing the game called I'm the most likable, so you guys should like me. I work the hardest, which means I should get moral points. This is why you're the most moral broke person that you've ever seen. And you're cute, but you're broke. Keep going.
Broke ass. Example, tech startups often think they're in the innovation game. Mm-hmm. But investors are often playing the valuation.
So this is what you ever see people, when they start their business, they get mad at they sit down with an investor and get mad at the investor. Because the reason they're mad because they don't see the investors playing a different game than they're playing. So even when you're doing your paperwork, you're doing the paperwork, listening to other tech people going, you know what, I would show them this. I would show them that they'll find resistors, and I would show them the soldering work, and I would show them the speed of your megapixels. The investor's like, I don't know why the fuck you just showed that to me. I need that. And they will literally dismiss that whole 5 or 10 sheets you prepared for them with all the Photoshop and all that print costs you paid to get it printed, and be like, let me get to the PL sheet, P&L. Okay, why is this here? Why are you not communicating this? What's missing here? Because they're playing a different game. Keep going.
And regulators might be in the safety game.
So safety game. So regulators comes in and go. So regulators be coming like, hey, you can't build here. You be like, oh, these fucking regulators. Do you know what the regulators, why they were created? What was the industry trends before you came into business? Do you know how to signal to their fears and concerns to let them know that you're the safest solution? Or are you still moving with friction with them, which means they over audit you because you don't show that you just actually have an attitude of like you resist compliance. You see where I'm going with this? Now you're spending more money because you're resisting something because you refuse to look at the history of where did this motion come from. You know where I'm going with this? See, this is abstract game theory and abstract thinking. Keep going. Next one. Keep going.
If you don't see the other layers, you get blindsided.
It costs. Let me just say this quick. If you don't see other layers, you can go broke. If you don't see other layers, you can lose your job. If you don't see the layers, you can lose your family. Once you don't see the game that people are playing, you're going to miss all this shit. Next one. Okay, this is the one I want to end on this one. I'm not going to go to, we'll just finish this last line. We're not going to go to the next slide because the next slide, I got other slides that come after this. But I just want to start. This is a warm up. We'll come back here next week and start off here. But this last part of this slide is so much fire. I'm going to try to close out in 5 minutes, but y'all might be like, can I ask the question? But Fern's not here, so let's keep going.
She's online though.
Oh, I mean, no, I mean Fur, not Fern, but Fur. This is a student from Russia. Anyway, good. Let's keep going. Yeah, you remember everyone from Russia? That's right. Let's keep that going.
Right,
but go ahead. Right. Fur. Anyway, go ahead.
Finite versus infinite games. James Carr's framework.
Mm-hmm.
Finite game. Clear rules, winners, losers, endpoints. Example, quarterly sales contests. Infinite games. Open-ended, evolving rules. Aim is to keep playing. Example, building trust with the company.
Community.
Community. Entrepreneurs need to discern which one they are in.
Can you guys see how crazy finite versus infinite rules? Game. Finite versus infinite game. I want you guys to look at that for a second. And I want you guys to tell me why this is crazy important. Shakina's like, y'all late. Go ahead, I'm gonna let you shine because you put your work in. Go and shine.
I think this is the core difference between longevity and transactional when it comes to businesses, because finite games, it's very easy to get tied into concrete things like numbers, hitting goals, rent, etc. But if you're focusing on those concrete things without focusing on the abstract things like customer relationships, acquisitions, how much it costs for you to attain a new customer as opposed to keeping somebody happy, understanding how to evolve your business with the needs of the customers so you don't get phased out from the next person gunning for your spot. Like there's all of these different things for longevity of a company for your survival if you're not understanding how to see the customer and their needs. You can't serve them. And so then when you're not able to serve them, you end up unintentionally pleasing a customer, being short term, thinking that you're going to win them over. But if you don't see them, you can't serve them and you can't last. You can't like play the long game.
In the end, you messed it up. In the beginning, you started off strong.
Okay.
And you got sidetracked. But we won't give anybody else want to add to anything finite versus infinite. And she gave some good points there. Then she kind of went into like a different discussion. Yeah, you went to different discussion. Anybody else?
Well, let me check online too.
Go ahead. Finite versus infinite games. Okay. So there you go. Get a microphone. There you go. Si's like, man, my biceps hella sore. Go ahead. I told you.
I think one of them encourages innovation.
Okay, explain.
So with finite game, I think there's limitations in terms of like thinking and operation as opposed to the infinite game.
Yes, there is. I still don't think you landed it. But you went. You know what you just said? The plane flying. Where's it going? Hey, bro, I just told you, motherfuckers up in the air.
I mean, when I'm looking at infinite game, I'm thinking like if you're a company, you're innovating with the evolution of the world. Because like it says, the aim is to keep playing. So I would define that as evolution. Like things are forever changing and you have to adapt with how the world or the culture navigates.
Getting closer. Go ahead.
Addition to his point is I think about like a personal view versus a world view. We covered that a few years ago, but when we were talking about we all have our individual perceptions of how we engage and see the world, but then there's a generalization of how most of like what the truth is of the world versus what our personal view is of the world.
That's a diversity issue, which is solid, but it's not infinite versus finite. I'm trying to see if I can unlock some of this before I tell you. Go ahead, Scott. Try it. But I like the way you're thinking. Keep going.
You only want from a business point of view?
It could be business or personal.
I would say from a relationship and network point of view, I think in a finite sense, people could say, well, I only have close ties. I only have these type of people as friends. But in an infinite sense, as long as you're alive, you can, anywhere you go in the world, you can build a friend, you can find a network, and those loose ties will continue to spread and grow. And for as long as you're alive, you can continue to find new people to make friends. It's like a never-ending game of, I mean, you can exhaust, I guess, your mental resources, but anywhere you travel, you can meet someone that can lead to some other situation that's a positive outcome. That could be another positive chain. That's another positive chain, as long as your mindset is in that space.
Somewhat. Almost there. Go ahead.
I'm just shooting. I'm just letting off shots.
Hey, not shit. Hey, man, look at that's called brainstorming. Go ahead. That's strong. That's important.
I think about it from a psychological space of like growth mindset and fixed mindset. So like creating ceilings for ourselves. So like
that's solid.
So when we're thinking about like a finite game, I have these clear set of rules and I can only grow to this height. Like it's rigidity built in. But then with growth, it's like, okay, well, these are the rules now, but these are the outskirts and possibilities, and this can blend into this, and I can leverage these. Like, it's being curious and really start thinking about like that first and second order thinking for like what can build on top of things, and like having that genuine curiosity that you talked about. If you're in a finite game, you're not really exploring curiosity or optionality.
Okay, so, all right, let me try to land the plane real quick. Think about life if you're going to live forever. Think about life if you know you're going to die. Do your rules, do your decisions change?
Yes.
Finite versus infinite. Think about weight loss as a goal, and think about weight loss as a lifestyle. Finite versus infinite. Think about a customer going bad and your business is designed to last for the next 30 years, or as opposed to you trying to be strong for the moment. How you can be strong for the moment and surrender the future. How you can tunnel versus seeing the big picture and understand that I'm playing a survival game. So, matter of fact, you could take a loss and see it as a long-term, infinite win. But if you finite, that could be your absolute loss. You see how your strategies absolutely change when you understand what is the goal? What are we trying to do? If you're in a relationship and you understand the relationship, okay, if you're dating somebody and going back to this is kind of say where you kind of hit the point. If I'm dating a woman and I'm just young and I'm just doing my thing and I ain't really into commitment, my tolerance for arguments and what I will say, what I won't say to her, and even my relationship to her family is totally different than I'm going to marry her and I'm trying to be with her till I die. If you see family as why you here versus family generations after you gone, is your money planning different?
Yeah.
You get where I'm going with this? Like how you deal with people and interact and value people and understand human life. For example, something happens in society, like something just goes bad. If you look at it through a finite list, the world's coming to an end. You look through an infinite list, this happens all the time. You see how your emotions change from finite to infinite? So a lot of times, some things in life is a finite game. I'm just trying to get in here, get this out and be done. But some of you guys are playing finite games with infinite mindset or playing infinite games with finite mindsets. You see how fucking powerful that is? You understand how that would change all your fucking decisions? You understand how that would make you sit back in a cut, watch 10 mistakes go down because you realize, like the person who's a venture capitalist who realized, so what if 10 things went wrong? I'm playing a different game. The game I'm saying is that I only need 3 to go right. This is the first 10? Don't call me. I'm playing golf. But if you're playing a fight night game and those 10 go wrong, you damn near on meth. Because you're thinking, this is it. Get me out of this shit. I quit. How many guys go into the investment game and play the fight night game? And the infinite game? Or how many of you guys are trying to play the infinite game but listen to finite investors, traders, short-term investors? You watching short-term investors talk, but you're playing the long-term game. I don't think you understand how many, you're doing business with a vendor and you're going, I need this infinite relationship for the time I'm in this business. The investor makes a mistake right here. You can slap their hand or you can use it as time to bring them closer to you because they're vulnerable. The person's vulnerable because they feel bad. You can call them and be like, man, you fucked up my money. I'm done with your ass. Or you can say, no, they've been good for years with hella companies. They made a mistake. I'm going to use their guilt to strengthen our relationship because I'm playing a longer game.
Cold.
He said what? 100%. That's going to your point. If Fern looked at that loss, finite versus infinite, when she took the loss, is it a finite loss? Or is she playing an infinite game with that customer, which is, how do I still keep a rich relationship with them? Because even if they don't come back, don't they have partners with other people?
Man, and it can be, hey, well, I appreciate all the business you've done for us. So in return, this is what we're going to do. We're still going to post your logo XY places just to show our appreciation. Now they hook.
We're playing a different game. Finite versus infinite. Finite is right versus wrong. I'm pissed off. You made me mad. I'm angry. You know, I don't give a fuck. Defensive thinking. Offensive thinking has a lot more infinite moves in it. You walk outside your house. Are you playing a finite game or infinite game? Are you trying to drive your brand or are you trying to drive your feelings? Right? I told my son had some shit on his head when we went to this wedding, and he walked out the room to go upstairs to go chill with some people, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? He said, I'm going upstairs. I said, okay. What the fuck are you doing? He said, I'm going. I said, did you see what's on your head? Yeah, but what? Okay. You're super. Can we both agree that you're super talented? He said, yes. Can we both say that you're kind of almost natural when it comes to music? Like you have a natural desire. You can hear, see, play, create music in ways that a lot of people can't. Yes. Would it be easy to say that you're undiscovered? And that's why, and because you're undiscovered, you're not getting challenges that can make you greater? He said, yes. But you're going to walk into the house to make sure that nobody sees you. What game you playing? You're in LA right now, and you're going to not look your best every time you walk out this motherfucking place. And interact with people. And try to put yourself in a position where, because you don't know who people, when you play in a certain kind of game like this, and then as you continue to go through that career, are you playing the role to protect relationships, or you get to the point where you get caught up in your status and start to snob people because you get caught in the finite story versus the infinite story? I mean, once you start wrapping your mind around this finite versus infinite, this is the coldest shit ever. Like if you ever sit down and go, shit, I'm gonna die one day. I'm really gonna die one day. Damn, I'm gonna die one day. Fuck, I'm gonna die one day. That car ticket don't seem that big to you no more. You got a ticket on your car, you're thinking, I'm going to die one day. I got a short time. This relationship, me sitting with court right now having dinner, is more important than that motherfucking ticket on that car. But when you finite, all these short term, you're like a mentally health person in a colorful room. You don't know what the fuck to look at. Because you're playing the wrong game. When you move in an infinite space, and this, once you realize, okay, let me show you one last one. Hella cold. Or let me mix this up. If you're a certain age, you realize, stop tripping on a lot of shit. You ain't gonna be here forever. At some point, a generation gonna live with the decisions they made. It ain't your old ass decisions. Also know that, here's infinite versus finite. Many of us see the world through a finite lens. Meaning we think from the day we were born, the world should be aligned with that moving forward. Don't realize you are part of a break from a generation before us. Meaning that life is in constant change and motion. So once you realize life is in constant change and motion, you will move away from that famous cognitive distortion. The world should be like this. When you infinite, you realize the world is just whirling. I mean, it's going to keep moving, changing, and adjusting. You saying, well, this is the way it is really your finite limitation, because the day you were born influences the way you see the world. If you could learn to see the world outside the way you were born, you know how much of a superpower that is? Most people can't see the world outside the way they were born. Finite versus infinite. Meaning, if you're building a company and it needs to move through generations, you can't move through generations if you're trying to hold on to an era. Now, if you're just gonna make money in an era, let's say you're in business and you're just here to make some money and sell the business. Play the finite game. I'm here to sell my business. I'm not trying to build a business for 30, 40, 50 years. Some of y'all, I'm building a business for community, but why you have all those investors? Because you do understand that the trade-off is when you have all those investors, you're giving away a portion of your company to the point that you got so many investors, you don't have nothing left. So the investors are gonna take it this way and the community's over there. What game you playing? It's some game theory, some cold shit. So when you're making that decision right now, you pull that lever, and then when moves unfold, now you mad. You should have saw the anger when you pulled the lever. Is this shit cold or what? Any questions online? Any questions in the class? I'm leave us with that, and we can pick up from the infinite versus finite. And the future classes next year is going to be a lot of exercises, a lot of activities, group activities, writing on a board, all kind of shit. We're going to start building stuff. I'm going to show you how to build abstract thoughts. And when we get through with this, you'll be able to like dissect problems in ways people are like, where in the fuck you come from? But I want you to learn how to see the power of the invisible.
There was a lot of positive feedback online about There was a lot of positive feedback online about enjoying the activities.
Cool. Well, this is the future, because I want us to learn and practice certain things until we're able to own it for ourselves. And I want us to make one thing I loved about you, Shakina, was you threw out a lot of like great hypotheses. And when I said you was wrong, you didn't. For those of you online, she never frowned. She smiled and said, "Okay," and went to the next one. That's a cold-blooded entrepreneur way of moving. When you could be wrong and it makes you excited about figuring out what the answer is, as opposed to be you being wrong and then you tie your value to it and you start to shrink yourself or feel victimized. That's the shit I aim to destroy in this class. I will always keep a certain amount of friction. Those who've come to this class and couldn't stand the friction, I saved them hella money. Because if y'all think the friction I provide is something, you know what's harder is when the world penalizes you in a harsher friction, because you can accept. If you can accept the friction, do you realize there's many doors you will never open in business because you're scared to go behind the door because you don't like the friction? Mm-hmm. Well, with me, I'm walking all through all the goddamn doors. I'm stepping on carpets. I'm putting my feet on people's couches. I'm going to figure out where the friction is so I can make any pre-moves or position myself correctly so I can have an advantage when that friction lands. But it's almost like my uncle was talking to me today about taxes. He's like, yeah, in this country, in California, you have to pay so many taxes. I'm like, it's part of the game. I signed up for that. I let that friction go a long time ago, which is like, yeah, if you're going to get in business, you still shocked when that first check gets that 30% hit? Oh, okay, so you didn't accept it yet. So now build your game around that's part of the game. Like you might, like in the game they make pause. They may you might have to rest, or they may call penalties, or they may whatever. The referee's gonna call all these calls. You still gotta win, even though the referee's calling the game this way. You don't say to yourself, the reason I can't win because I came in with my own game. The referee's running another game. It got me pissed off. No. Where Harden did was said, oh, that's a game the referees play? I got fouled again. James Harden, I got fouled again. And he made the shit work for him. Respect to the man. That's game theory. All right, y'all. Let's have a good night.
Yeah, you know what you would.